Good morning, this is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. PsychicTarot.ca, book your tarot reading and unlock your spiritual journey. And the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning. And hello, kids and cubs. Hello, Damn Fam. And welcome to Season 5 and episode number, let's take a look, 811 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. Oh, Canada. Always 100% Canadian right here. Boom. Got it on my heart. Today, recording day is Monday, December 15th, 2025. And I think it's going to be an okay day here at the Beaver Lodge. I don't really know. I didn't check the weather this morning, I have to say, kids and cubs. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, hey. And not with me, as usual, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Not sure if he is back from his vacation out west, whether he came back last night or coming back today. But I hope he had a wonderful time, and I'm sure that all of the good vibes that all of the Damn Fam sent his way made it such that his vacation was absolutely delightful. So we're very much looking forward to speaking to him and very much looking forward to this weekend because remember, Damn Fam, on Saturday the 20th, we will have a pubcast for you. Woohoo! And I'll actually be able to be there because I have no rehearsals. Woohoo! As you can tell, kids and cubs, I'm rather bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today, and very excited and very energetic. Had some good sleep, so I'm a very happy and well-rested beaver. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Miss V Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and PsychicTarot.ca. Damn Fam, how is your mental health today? Lay it on me. Tell me what's going on. Mine, pretty good. Pretty darn good, I have to say. Uh, it was relatively low energy on the weekend for some reason, which was fine because, I mean, we had stuff planned, but not major stuff. So I kind of indulged in that and feeling good today. Went to a birthday party on Saturday night. Happy birthday, Lisa. Hope you had a good time. It was lovely. Had a little bit of karaoke, and that was always good as well. And yesterday, my Beaver Sweeties choir had a second concert, which is nice. That was more sort of just a more relaxed affair. And so I went to see that because that one I was able to see the full thing because I missed his main concert on the 15th of November because we had a big tech day and I couldn't get out of it. But I got to see this one, and this one was really nice because after the concert, the choir stays and the public stays, and then they carol together for about half an hour before everybody goes home. And that was just a wonderful opportunity to see people come to watch a choir and then actually sing with the choir afterwards. Lovely experience. And the wonderful people from the Nava band were there too. For those who are relatively new, my Beaver Sweetie, and sometimes I do, if I don't have a show going on, sing with Mellows Choir. and it's an early music choir with period instruments here in Kingston. One of the premier early music choirs in all of Canada. To be honest, it's really, really good. And so Bach is about as modern as it gets. So we do music from like the 500s to the 1800s. Um, and that involves often taking sonic trips around the world. So we do have a group of musicians here who are from you know the whole sort of Middle East area. I'm not sure if they're all from the same country, if they're all Turkish or Iranian, or if there's from a mix of countries. But they call themselves the Nava Band here, and they often join our choir. And they bring ouds and santors and a whole bunch of instruments, and we add songs from that repertoire into what we do. So the Mellows Choir sings in several different languages, and they accompany us, and we accompany them, and it's this beautiful meeting of cultures, and and we're all singing in the Catholic Church, which is kind of interesting to have all these blends of people all together, and again, all blends of people coming together into a church. And a big thank you to the people at St. John the Apostle Church and also St. George Cathedral in Kingston, both of them, who are very, very, very generous to our choir and to the community. In fact, at St. John's, where we were yesterday, um, while the choir was singing upstairs, there was actually a Ukrainian folk dance troupe rehearsing downstairs for something else. So those two churches are absolutely wonderful and do give a lot back to the community. So just wanted to give them a shout out too. But it was nice just to see, all people of different faiths and orientations and ages and creeds and colors and all of that, all just coming together to enjoy some music in a space, you know, again, a church that a lot of them might not necessarily always access, and that everybody felt warm, everybody felt welcome, and like I said, it was just this beautiful experience. And of course, I'm always so proud of my sweetie, my Beaver sweetie, who has the voice of an angel, and I love going to watch his choir performances, and I love hearing him sing. So it was a beautiful weekend. Like I said, didn't have too much that was strenuous on the agenda. So I had a good time, and I hope you did too. Uh, I know it's only 10 days until Santa, but for some reason it doesn't feel like it here at the Beaver Lodge, which is uh, a little odd because I do like Christmas very much. I didn't when I was a kid and when I was younger, oddly enough, but as an adult, I really do like it. Maybe it's because I have more of a family now, and I can celebrate it with, and it's actually a happy occasion, or it wasn't always a happy occasion when I was younger. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I look forward to Christmas now, and I enjoy the time, and I enjoy getting into the spirit of the season. So, and it hasn't hit me yet. I've been talking to people, and it's like I think with the show, just so many things got put on the back burner that I had to come back and catch up on. And I think I'm getting close to getting pretty much caught up. That I just haven't even had like time in my brain to think of anything Christmas whatsoever. So yeah. Um, but it'll happen. It'll happen. Actually, tonight, our men's curling team has its Christmas dinner, so I'll have no choice but to get into the spirit this evening. Um, Personal little bit of bad news is we did manage to finally find tickets, plane tickets, to go on the trip that we had planned this winter. Because I had had a vacation a long time, and we tried to book them yesterday, and it looks like we're going to have to call the airline company because one of us let their passport lapse during the COVID stuff because they knew they were not going to be traveling at all. And it seems that I'm not able to book, at least online, a plane ticket to a sunny destination without a passport having been granted. Now, of course, if I apply for a passport and wait for it to arrive, the tickets will be gone. You see my situation. So today, apparently, there is a way that you can do it. Apparently, not online. So we're probably going to have to call the airline company and try to do it over the phone, which of course comes with a lovely additional $25 booking fee, because of course. But an extra $25 to be able to go on vacation versus, waiting a couple of weeks for your passport to return and all tickets be gone and then not going on vacation. Well, that seems like a bit of $25 well spent, even though we are being gouged. So, yeah, we're going to try it that way, and hopefully there will be vacation, and then I can actually apply and have the passport and the document ready before we go. But yeah, just a little. Again, with the way that things changed, right? Ever since all these travel rules keep changing all the time, that yeah, you can't. Um, Even though you can legally buy a plane ticket without a passport number to another destination, so long as you get a passport and you can provide the information before you actually get on the plane. Um, some computer systems, they put that little star and say this field is mandatory, and it's like, well, then you get stuck in an endless loop of not being able to buy the damn ticket. So that's why we're going to have to call. And hopefully we'll be able to do it that way today because I really need a vacation. I mean, let's put it this way. You all know I'm Olympics nut, and the dates that we chose coincide precisely with the Olympics. We would be getting back on the day the Olympics end. So I probably won't be able to get to watch a second of it from where we are, which really breaks my heart. And still, I think I want to go on vacation rather than stay home. Yeah, I need one, kits and cubs. I really do. So hopefully it will all work out today when we call later on to buy the tickets, and then I can apply for the passport and all that stuff. All right. If you think I am delaying starting the show somehow, I am, because the first topic today, um, that we're not going to go too much into, because I would like to try to keep it as positive and happy and light as possible today. But uh, life is what life is, and our world is what our world is. And over the course of the weekend, unfortunately, there was some great tragedy in Australia. And normally, we do not talk about these things on the show. We don't talk about just crime. Um, I don't even know what the word I'm looking for is here. Um, but for example, there were some incidents in Canada where there were some um, uh, people who, like, for example, if there is a shooting somewhere, I have to use shooting because this is what this is, and I'm not able to think of another example off the top of my head. Um, you know, we just normally don't get into the crime stuff unless there is a really, really sharp political angle that really needs to be brought to the fore. Otherwise, we just let them go. There's regular news for that, and we just focus on the politics stuff, and if it happens, in the States or something like this, we generally don't talk about it because there's, there are so many of these shootings and stuff like that, and well, we know what the U.S.'s attitude is to it, and yeah, I mean, it affects us, but it doesn't, right? I mean, it affects us in that, there's a gun smuggling problem and all that kind of stuff, and we watch with horror, and we are humans. I mean, we feel empathy and all of that, but it's not our problem to solve, and we can't do anything about it. So, we just let the regular news outlets handle this one. um, Handle those. But every now and then there's one that is just so big and so egregious, or there's a timing aspect that happens with it, or something that it just grabs the attention, and we do have to mention it. And in this case, um, we thought that we would. Um, Over the course of the weekend, if and you all heard about this, um, there was an attack uh, in Australia on Bondi Beach, and 15 people were killed and 27 were in hospital. Um, and the attack was declared a terrorist incident, and it was targeting Jewish Australians. Those who had their lives taken from them were aged between 10 and 87. One of the victims was a Holocaust survivor who died while shielding his wife from bullets, according to CNN. The suspects are a father and son duo who are identified by Australian media. Father is 50, the son is 24. We will not say their names. The younger of the two was born in Australia, while his father, who was killed at the scene, immigrated to the country in 1998. The son is said to have been relatively critically wounded, but so far has survived. Um, this happened. One of the reasons this is making news, it's not only because it's a shooting, not only because of the sheer number of people who were murdered and injured, but because it was an act that was clearly motivated by extremism. And uh, it happened on the first day of Hanukkah. I so you know that this had to do um, something. This had something to do um, with extremist ideology. It's uncomfortable talking about these things, but we have to. Um, Hanukkah, for those who don't know, is the Jewish 8-day festival of lights celebrating the rededication of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem after the Maccabees reclaimed it from Syrian invaders in the 2nd century BCE, marked by lighting a 9-branched menorah each night, playing the dreidel game, singing songs, and eating oil-fried foods like latkes and sufganiyot, commemorating a miracle where a single day worth of oil miraculously lasted for 8 days. The Hebrew word Hanukkah literally means dedication. Uh, so yeah, people had gathered for the first day of Hanukkah, and some person decided that this was a good time to go out and make news and to take lives. Uh, it's a shattering event. Uh, the Jewish community, our Jewish brothers and sisters, have endured so much over the past few years, in particular. Um, you can't help but feel awful. You can't help but feel terrible. And it seems that like anything that we can say is, at best, cold comfort. What are the words you use in a situation like this? You know, when you have friends that are of the faith and who are hurting and, you know, just wondering when the next shoe will drop all the time. The rise in anti-Semitism, particularly over the past few years, is extremely disconcerting and destabilizing, uh, and not desired. Nobody's asking for this. So, our hearts uh, go out. And again, this all sounds cold and trite and insufficient, but our hearts go out to all who are suffering, who are sad, who are mourning, whether you're in Australia or wherever you are in the world. You know, these are your families, your friends, your community, people with whom you identify. You know, and we certainly know that if it can happen there, it can happen anywhere because these types of things seem to be happening everywhere. Um, I cannot I want to say I cannot begin to know what that could feel like because I'm blessed with being Canadian and those things don't tend to happen that often over here. Um, touch wood, and thank all that is good. But I am a member of a community that has traditionally known hate. Actually, I'm a member of a few communities that has traditionally known hate. If I think of my biology, um, and I understand what it's like to worry about that. I understand what it's like to walk through a certain neighborhood and maybe looking over my shoulder or having my keys in my hands in case I might need them for something. Um, I know that feeling, but I don't know the feeling uh, on that level, anywhere on that level. So I can't relate fully. I can't fully understand what it must be like. But I am a human being with empathy, um, and I can imagine that it's a feeling nobody wants to have ever for not even a quarter of a second. So, yeah, my heart is as wide as an ocean right now, and I've been I- I've I've been uh, destabilized by this news. I have to admit because this type of event is terrible on any given day. But when people make such an effort to go out and do these things on days of gathering, of symbolism, of solace, of communion with community, um, and it takes away the whole, it detracts from the whole point and purpose of the day. It becomes the story rather than the day itself being the story. Um, that's something else that is taken away from you, and you don't have to have been in Australia. You don't even have to have known somebody was there. You can be Jewish, and you don't even have to have known anybody who was affected by that. Just the fact that that was done on that day, and clearly for nefarious purposes, and clearly for purposes of scaring and terrorizing a community. This, uh, that gets stored in the body. You feel that. So I've got nothing but love today uh, for the community, and I've had nothing but love all weekend. I hope that you are well surrounded with people that you love and that you care about, and that you have good support systems. Um, and if you do need to reach out, please do. Please take care of your emotional and your mental health. There are people out there, medical professionals, people who have experience in this field who will not judge you, uh, who will not think less of you, who will not think you're weak because you're going to reach out and you need help. But please, if you need some help, if you've got a lot going on, if you've got this interior monologue going on that has you ruminating and spinning in circles and stuff, talk to someone. Please do reach out. Okay. Take care of yourselves. It's very important, and we need you here. All right. Kits and Cubs, more terrible news this morning, and I see that you have been talking about it in the chat earlier this morning. But uh, I spotted this just 5 seconds before starting the show. But it would seem, and this has nothing to do with us as Canadians, but again, talking about someone that has a very huge and global reputation, it would appear that famous director, actor Rob Reiner and his wife were both found dead in their Los Angeles home, according to the Associated Press. Actor Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle were the two people found dead Sunday at a Los Angeles home owned by Reiner, according to a law enforcement official briefed on the investigation. The official could not publicly discuss details of the investigation and spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity. Investigators believe they suffered stab wounds, and a family member is being questioned by investigators. Um, so yeah, again, just um, news that hits you, depending what age you are, the age that I'm at. Rob Reiner has always been part of my consciousness uh, because of the classic sitcom All in the Family, in which he played Mike Stivic, um, or Meathead, as Carol O'Connor would call him on the show. And that made him famous. But then he became a director of many famous movies, like This Is Spinal Tap and When Harry Met Sally and The Princess Bride, and it was very politically engaged as well. So also just someone who was very community engaged, very well known for his philanthropy. So yeah, it's a big loss. It's a big loss for the world of entertainment, and um, looking at this like it might be a family related issue. Unfortunately, uh, given that a family member is being questioned by investigators. Um, Again, here I'm filling in some blanks and speculating that the family member being questioned might be somebody, the person who did that, and rather than a witness, it could just be a witness or a person of interest. There's not enough information to know one way or the other. But yeah, some sad news to start the show. Unfortunately, bad news to start the show. Fortunately, the show will get lighter. But yeah, lots of people um, having a lot of emotions and feelings this morning. On the upside, much beloved comedian Dick Van Dyke celebrated his 100th birthday. So happy birthday, sir. Life well lived. Thank you for all the laughs and the joy and the dancing and the music and the entertainment and everything. And, um, may you continue to contribute for a long time yet to come, because uh, I do not know anybody who does not like Dick Van Dyke. I've never heard a bad word about him anywhere. And to have that long a career and not have anybody say anything bad about you, um, that's quite an achievement. It's quite an achievement. Okay, kits and cubs, let's get into this. Oh, there we go. Oh, we have Kit Daryl here, which is a new name for me. Of course, as you know, Twitter has been switching the names of the people on the chat, but a beautiful comment here. Thank you for taking the time. We need more people to speak up. We know this is not the end of terror against Jews. We are sadly targets and living in fear for what's to come, but our faith brings us strength. Yes, I have to admit I'm not particularly a person of faith, but I know many people who are, and I know what it brings to them and what it adds to their life. So if you are, unlike me, a person of faith, and your faith uh, helps you stand and helps you find strength and courage and resilience and motivation and the conviction you need to take on the day and bring your full self to it, all your beautiful self to it, um, then hold to your faith, especially at a time like this. Hold to your faith and hold to those who share it with you. And said, comfort and love each other and be kind to each other. Um, right? Use it to elevate each other. Because this is not it's not the first day of this fight, and unfortunately, it probably is not going to be the last. But you have friends and you have allies. You have friends and you have allies. And we will be here. We will be here. Okay. Oh boy. It's a heavy morning, isn't it? It's kind of hard to segue out of this. But thank you for making that contribution. Really appreciate it that you put it in the chat. Really do. All right, kids and cubs. Oh, and we have Frank here saying Van Dyke is the epitome of laughter being the best medicine for life. Isn't it? Isn't it though? And that is such a true statement. That is absolutely such a true statement. I am glad you mentioned that. Uh, Laughter. And again, for those who are going through a really tough time, I know sometimes laughter can be hard to come by. Sometimes it even makes you feel guilty, but it really is the best medicine. And trust me, uh, as someone from the rainbow community who went through the HIV and AIDS epidemic and saw lots of people being wiped out, um, dark humor really, 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 really can be helpful at times. It's not everybody's taste, but it can get you through a lot. So uh, if you go there, uh, d- don't feel bad and don't feel guilty. Do what you do. Do what you need to do to get through this. And if that involves going to a dark place or two and cracking a joke, uh, go ahead. Go ahead. It's, I know sometimes some people look down on that or think it's in bad form or bad taste, but it can be very, very helpful. So, all right. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, kids and cubs. Let's get into some of the subjects of the day because we are here to talk about Canadian politics. Uh, Mostly, we do take a little look around the world every now and then, but mostly Canadian politics. And it's not like there hasn't been a lot going on here in Canada over the last little bit. And for some reason, um, the computer's being a little weird with me, but there we go. I think we are back up to it. So, the session of Parliament, or the session of, I think it's a session, they call it, has come to an end, and people are off for their 6-week break. So House will be coming back sometime around the end of January, a couple of days prior to Poilièvre's leadership review, which has taken on a whole lot more color and texture since a couple of Christmas parties were held recently. But we'll be back to that later. There was business in the House, and according to Darren Major of CBC News, because a lot of people are looking back at the year at this point, only one bill passed through the entire process of the House receiving royal assent, but there were a couple of other bills that were passed and are being studied by the Senate. I believe that the Senate is still working until Thursday this week or so, so it might be possible that some of them get royal assent and that there will be more production. But as we know of, only one has passed, and a lot of people are turning around going, well, gee, for a guy that said he wanted to get things done at a speed never seen before, was that really fast? Well, you have to remember in this particular session, the Prime Minister was doing a lot of stuff that didn't necessarily require legislation, right? It doesn't require legislation to get involved in the SAFE program with Europe, which opens us up to $224 billion worth of defense contracts. It doesn't require legislation to sign an over the horizon deal with Australia. It doesn't require legislation to sign a free trade deal with Indonesia. It doesn't require legislation, you know, to well, I guess the major projects did require legislation because they did it with C5 and stuff, but it doesn't require legislation to identify something as a major project or to entertain bids. So, it doesn't require legislation to decide that the budget of the military is going to increase so that we spend 2% of GDP on military equipment this year. So there's been a lot that's been done, but stuff that doesn't require legislation. The fact that there was very few pieces of legislation that got royal assent is not necessarily indicative of the level of activity or productivity of the current government. And I've been noticing this on a lot of discussions over the past few days. Well, there's only been one, and it's sort of been framed in that way that this is government that hasn't done much. It's Government has done a lot. It's just that most of it didn't require legislation. Um, It says here the House of Commons wrapped up the fall sitting shortly after Thursday's question period, meaning MPs are heading back to their ridings for a 6-week holiday break. MPs rose with some key pieces of legislation still working their way through the House, most notably the government's Budget Implementation Act. Prime Minister Mark Carney said Wednesday that he wished the budget bill and some of the government's crime legislation would be passed quickly, but suggested the House, quote, is functioning well. Quote, it's a minority parliament, he said to reporters on Parliament Hill. We're making progress. Canadians rightly expect us to make a lot more progress. The House only passed 4 bills this fall sitting. This includes the supplementary estimates, which need to pass every sitting to keep the government operating. MPs quickly got 2 bills through the third reading shortly after question period on Thursday: C12, the government's border security bill, and C4, which primarily would bring the Liberals' income tax cut officially into law. Both will now head to the Senate. The government was able to pass the Lost Canadians legislation last month. Kind of interesting that the Bill C4, which would bring the Liberals' income tax cut officially into law, wasn't passed much sooner, particularly by Conservatives who love tax cuts and keep on preaching affordability, but seem to have been rather involved in stalling certain things in committee, delaying these affordability measures getting to you for all intents and purposes. MPs bid farewell with holiday well wishes, but the Liberals and Conservatives also spent the final days of the fall sitting blaming each other for gunking up proceedings in the House. See? Conservative House Leader Andrew Scheer accused the Liberals of delaying the passing of their own legislative agenda and failing to work with other parties to tackle affordability concerns. Quote, for the past few weeks and months, we've seen all kinds of procedural tricks and games that Liberals have played that has had the effect of holding up their own agenda, Scheer said Wednesday. Quote, it might be that after 10 years of government, they're still not very good at governing. Yeah, and sir, after I don't know how many years you've been on our political scene, but it's been way more than 10 of doing whatever you do, you're still not very good at it either. So you're in a pretty bad position to be casting aspersions or making judgments. But moving on. But Government House Leader Stephen McKinnon pointed the finger back at Conservatives. Quote, I thought that the Times called out for greater seriousness, and we've been systematically disappointed over the fall, McKinnon told reporters on Thursday. We believe that this parliament can work, should work, but unfortunately there's a part of the Conservative caucus that views obstruction as a good day for them. And this is one of the things that we need to make a point of, and our good friend Billy Kelly did that on his show the other day. Um, Opposition parties are supposed to oppose. Yes, and as we say on the show too, but they're also supposed to propose. And oppose does not mean saying no to everything. Oppose can mean, you know what, that's a pretty good bill, but this part of the bill is not good, and we need to shore this up. So you need to make this amendment here to make this bill stronger. Right? Oppose doesn't have to be, oh, you want to do this? So we're just going to reflexively say no, 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 no to everything. Because, and as Mr. Kelly pointed out very astutely, there is the there is a very clear and marked difference both in results and in intentions and everything that flows from your intentions when one decides that rather than being His Majesty's loyal official opposition, one is going to be His Majesty's perhaps loyal official obstruction party. Opposition is not obstruction, and there is a difference. The Conservatives are selling obstruction currently as opposition, and it is not. Much of the contention in the past week has revolved around the House Justice Committee, which has been stuck in an ongoing studying of the Liberals' Bill C9, dubbed the Combating Hate Act. Earlier this week, the Liberals blacked a Bloc Québécois amendment that would remove a religious exemption from Canada's hate speech laws. So it seems that the Liberals finally did go ahead and go forward while backing it. The Conservatives have largely opposed the bill in general, but have aggressively called out the amendment and have filibustered the committee since it was added on Tuesday. Conservative MPs have proposed dropping the study of C9 for now and instead pushed the Liberals' bail reform bill, where they believe there's more common ground to the House, but that suggestion failed to get the necessary unanimous approvals of the Justice Committee. And you see the Conservatives were really upset about that and say, we tried to bring it 17 times and we were turned down 17 times. You have to remember here that what the Conservatives are doing here are saying, yeah, hello, government, I know that you've asked us to study C9, but that's what you want to do. How about we not do that and let's study the bail reform bill that we like and that we want instead of you following your business. So once again, the opposition is trying to top from the bottom. here to govern from the opposition benches, and they were, of course, flatly rejected and denied. And then they got upset and then ran to the cameras and then cried and then issued a lot of fundraising emails about those terrible liberals that just don't want to deal with bail. Of course, the conservatives don't want to deal with the hate crimes law, clearly, right? So yeah, you have conservatives fighting arduously in the House of Commons for the rights of people to hide behind religious text as they engage in discrimination because Jesus or Allah or Buddha or Shiva wants them to hate. They believe, and they claim that it is a part of their religious freedom to hide behind whatever scripture they do in order to hate. And the Bloc Québécois and Quebec Society, which is a very, very pro-secularism, definitely did not think that it should be a good idea that we allow people to engage in what would otherwise be criminal behavior just because they quote scripture prior to doing it or after the fact related to scripture. I personally am in support of this amendment. Now, I admit I am biased as a rainbow person. I am someone who has had people use scripture to try and say that I should not have the same rights to love as anyone or to be a fully fulfilled person. So I might be a little biased. I put my biases up front, but I think it's a very good idea that we do not offer exceptions for fomenting hate, because one claims their beliefs are deeply held and based in religion. So there you go. Liberals, it seems it was going back and forth whether or not they would support the Bloc Québécois amendment. It seems that they have, and looks like the bill will go forward with would go forward with that amendment in it once it finally does get out of committee, regardless of what the Conservatives may do or how loud they may scream or how much they may cry. According to the article, the committee suspended its proceedings on Thursday, still in a deadlock, and MPs are scheduled to be back in Ottawa to resume sitting on January 26th. So again, those two other bills that did manage to get through committee, if they can get through Senate before Senate rises, then we'd have a few other bills passed in this session. But again, just the Lost Canadians bill has been approved and received royal assent, and like I said, with three others having gotten through the House, and some waiting for royal assent yet. So that's where things stand in terms of legislation as we end the session. Then, of course, as you have learned, and as we all know, because we went into the weekend with this, the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada lost a third MP. Now, I understand that the verbiage on this is different because some people are saying two, some people are saying three. I'm saying three, even though, yes, if we're talking about crossing over, two have crossed over. The other one, Matt Jeneroux, has somehow decided that he just doesn't want to be in politics at all anymore. And therefore, his seat technically is still being occupied, even though he never sits in it, doesn't show up for votes, and doesn't caucus with his party, and hadn't for a while before he had tended in his resignation. So, or well, how would I put it? Those may not be precise words, since he potentially, allegedly, was convinced / coerced, we don't know which one, to remain a member of the party so that his seat was not vacated, allowing a by-election to take place prior to Pierre's leadership review. Would probably be a more precise statement, actually. So, first, he lost Chris d'Entremont, on Budget Day, an MP from Nova Scotia is the riding that he represents. And then I think it is 2 days later, if I'm not mistaken, we heard the news about Generou. Of course, in the meantime, we heard news about Chris Workington, the House Whip, I believe it is, and Andrew Scheer, the House Leader, uh, barging into D'Entremont's office to sort of tear a strip off him. The Conservatives claimed that they went in there and spoke calmly and measuredly, in a measured manner, but none of us know that to be true about Conservatives in any way, shape, or form, particularly on a day where somebody is announcing that deuces, I'm out of here, when we saw all the reactions. Traitor, 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 uh, trash, scum, all that kind of stuff that happened as a result. So, thus confirming that D'Entremont was probably right to make the leap in the first place, because it seemed like a lovely environment in which to be a part of, right? And then Genrou, and it seems that word of that got out, and somehow he did not cross the floor and was convinced to do whatever he did that nobody can actually understand, unless you look at it from a perspective of what are Pierre's personal interests. And then it kind of makes sense of it. And then we expected more, and nothing happened for a while. So it seems that the Conservatives were rather convinced that, how would I say, rather convinced that they had stopped the bleeding for some time. And, well, it would appear that they hadn't, because out of the blue, Michael Ma, and again, word on the tweet is that nobody within the Conservative Party of Canada saw this coming. Nobody in the journalist world saw this coming. All the investigative reporters and political journalists who have all their sources know of all the people who have decided to pop up and say that they were disgruntled. And he was not one of them. No news of this leaked, so this was kept hidden and totally under wraps, which, as we mentioned on the show, certainly sends the level of paranoia within the Conservative Party of Canada spiking. Also, the paranoia within the party might be spiking because everybody's off on the 6-week constituency break, and it's not like the party can be everywhere all the time when their 140 or so MPs are dispersed throughout the entire country, as is the case when they're all in Ottawa. So that might have a lot more people in the inner circle, a lot more paranoid and nervous than they normally would be, especially this time of year when they thought that they could take a breath because it was the holidays. That everything was smooth.
So Santa came early, is what you're saying.
Mr. Grizzly!
Hey, how's it going?
Fine, how are you?
A little bit tired. Been up since 4 a.m. Calgary time. So it's 6 a.m. right now. I took 5 minutes to get through security today. They got the new scanners in.
Okay.
It's been completely redone since I was here last year. So last year it took almost 2 hours to get through security. Today it took 5 minutes.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So I thought I'd check in. I had a few minutes to say hi. Had a great weekend. Tired, but I had a great weekend.
Yes.
Got some
I'm
good
glad.
skiing in yesterday. Well, I think I'm mostly tired because of the skiing. We did Sunshine Village in Banff, and
Okay.
the conditions were amazing, except at the top of the mountain, the visibility was near zero
Okay.
because of the lighting, and it was overcast. So I had to
Right.
buy another pair of goggles. So did my buddy, because we had like bright sunlight goggles, figuring it was
Right.
going to be sunny, but no, it was not. So we had to get like a gray day goggle so we could see. But yeah, the conditions were great. The powder was deep. I mean,
Nice.
in some places over my head deep.
Wow.
Like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like, don't get off your skis. Don't get off
Right.
your skis here. Exactly. Well, yeah. And I went to put my pole down and it disappeared, and my fist disappeared beneath it. I'm like, okay, we'll just we'll see what we can do to get out of here.
Oh
But yeah,
my.
it was a good time. Good time.
Oh, I'm so glad you had
So
a good time.
yeah, it was my buddy's birthday yesterday, and that was, the big point. Like, I like to come down and visit him, but I thought, well, if I can make it for your birthday this year, we can get some skiing in. Let's do that. So
Yeah. Oh,
it's a good
lovely.
time.
Oh, good. Well, hey, I guess you were right. Santa came early in 2 ways, because he brought us you this morning.
Well, I still get a kick out of the Michael Ma and how the Conservatives are absolutely losing their shit. Just losing it. I'm like, what? This is the thing that happens all the time. I don't recall the Liberal Party losing their minds when Leona Alsip walked across the floor.
No, I believe they wished her well.
Yes, they did.
And I had forgotten,
So,
actually. Somebody reminded me, but they actually made Leona Alislev deputy leader of the party eventually.
correct. Yeah, they did. So it's really funny when you consider the fact that it's like, it's only okay when we do it.
Well, and here's the thing, right? We had David Emerson back in the day, right? I guess had the election, didn't serve 1 second in the House of Commons as a liberal, and said, "Whoops, I moved over to the Conservatives, and hey, by the way, I'm a cabinet minister."
Yeah.
And then Leona Alislev is like, "Oh yeah, deputy leader of the party." It's like, these two that crossed, like Chris D'Entremont is in the back row near the curtains.
Yeah.
Like, and these Conservatives are sitting there on the news. I can't believe they're going to get yourselves a majority through backroom deals. It's like, again, I'm remembering the last time people crossed over to you and you guys gave them positions in the party.
Yeah. It's just, I saw snippets of the Rosie Barton. I don't even want to call it an interview. I think it was a Pierre Poilièvre propaganda moment, to be honest with you. And yeah, she's like, do you feel responsible for your MPs leaving? No, that's Mark Carney's fault because his lip. I'm like, what? This guy has no idea what's going on. Like,
None.
he's so out of touch with reality.
Yep.
I'll tell you a quick story.
Sure.
About him. So he was in Calgary recently at a Flames game, and friends of mine were also attending that game. One particular friend used to be, when Poilièvre first got elected, he worked for him. So he's known Poilièvre for his entire career. So they're at the game, and Poilièvre sends him a text. He says, "Hey, buddy, I see you. Why don't you come over and say hi?" And he's like, ugh. And my other friend goes, "What? Does he, maybe he's concerned about you because of, there's been cuts in this division and that department and this thing over here. And maybe and he goes, he doesn't give a shit about me or any of that. This is a guy who worked for him. Wow. Said he doesn't care about me. He doesn't give a damn about my welfare. The fact that I may be unemployed in a minute or two, he doesn't care about that. He only cares about himself. This is somebody who worked for him. I've been told this by people who went to high school and university with him. Well, 5 minutes he was in university, but this is who he is. It's who he's always been. It's not my fault people are leaving. It's because the other guy gave him a better offer. What's the old saying? Yeah, people don't quit jobs because they're unhappy in their job. People quit jobs because of bad managers.
I literally had wrote that quote down. I heard somebody say it. People don't quit jobs. People quit bosses.
That's what they do. And that's what 3 of them have done. 2 of them crossed the floor and one just said, "I'm out altogether."
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine? It's like running that hard and it's like, you know what? I did all this work, but if you're going to be like that, sorry, I just don't even want to be involved in this scene altogether. Now, there's some speculation because, of course, the Conservatives keep on saying, if you do this, we're going to ruin you. We're going to destroy you for the rest of your life. So then now people, of course, because Matt General would rather not sit at all rather than have to undergo that. Now that a lot of people are turning around, well, what does Matt General have in his closet that he doesn't want to come out? Because, so, and again, it's just whether there is something or not. Who knows? Because again, with this bunch of conservatives, it wouldn't surprise me if there was, because I do not put anything past them. But I also do not put it past them to take a completely innocent person and decide, I'm just going to frickin' ruin you because I can.
Oh yeah,
right.
That's who they are.
That's also in their.
That's who they are.
But so for Matt General, this is not good. This is, whether or not they ruined him or not, whether or not they engaged in a process to ruin him, they are ruining him because everybody's asking this question now. Well, why did you decide to leave politics rather than stand up?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you just don't want to take on the fight. You don't have the energy. It's not that you did anything wrong. You just decide that you're going to spend your energy elsewhere. But the speculation is out there. So it's like they're already destroying him, whether there is something on him or not.
These are petty, vindictive people. These are not people who wish to govern. They wish to rule. As evidenced by how they behave when somebody decides, I'm going to change because of this. And they're going, yeah, but the people overwhelmingly elected him and his riding as a conservative. I'm like, overwhelmingly? the difference was like 2,000 votes. That's not overwhelming. It's not a big margin.
And I'm seeing a lot of these conversations. Well, I voted for the party. It's like, okay, well, you maybe voted for the party. It's like, I deserve a by-election. It's like, oh, wow, well, we think a lot of ourselves because you decided to vote for the party and now you're not getting what you want anymore. You deserve a by-election. It's like, we don't vote for the party, we vote for the people. Well, I voted for the party.
That's your problem.
You have a right to vote for the party, but the way that the system is organized is that we vote for the person. The party's affiliations weren't even on the ballots until 1972. So, I mean, we vote for the person. Because now, if you chose to vote for the party instead, that's your deal, more power to you. But then don't stand around and say, you deserve to have a new election just because you decided to vote for the party rather than the person like you're supposed to.
Well, by that logic, why has Pierre Poilièvre got a position right now? He was voted out.
Right.
Damien Kirk, that people voted for Damien.
Yep.
He stepped aside. So Poilièvre could, and cost $2 million, by the way.
Yep.
While he lived in subsidized housing for 6 months.
Yep.
On our dime, by the way.
And while Damien Kirk was getting paid salary and benefits for not being in the House, just like Matt Genereux is right now, getting paid salary and benefits for not being in the House. So again, you get this Conservative Party, this party of alleged affordability that has us spending money on things for which we're getting no value for that money whatsoever. There's no work. We're paying these people for doing no work whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And then, oh my God, I can't believe the Liberals want to cause another costly election. Oh, but Pierre Poilièvre loses his seat and we pay $2 million and Damien Kirk gets to step aside and we keep on paying him salary and benefits and we're paying salary and benefits to Matt Genereux. And when he finally steps aside because essentially he got pushed out of politics, there's going to be another $2 million there. And then Chris d'Entremont crosses the floor and you guys want to buy election, and then Michael Ma crosses the floor and you want to buy election. So right now we're at 8 million now like this, but those costly Liberals want another costly election. You're the ones that keep on wanting us to go into elections every time you don't get your way. It's the Conservatives that keep on crying for more elections. Give us another chance. Give us another chance. Oh my God, I didn't win my seat. Give me another chance to cross the country and run in another seat. Oh, but it's so terrible that this person will cross the floor. You cross the damn country.
The hypocrisy is unbelievable. It's off the charts. I got to ask you, did you show any of the clips of the interview or the conversation with Rosie?
I'm about to. I'm about to get into that.
Cool.
Because
cool.
It's a disaster.
I can't do it. I'm just using my phone. I could use my laptop, but I didn't. I'm in an airport terminal. I don't want to go through the rigmarole of setting all that up. So, but I saw clips of it. It's like, wow, what a vain narcissist, smug prick.
Listen, this was supposed to be damage control.
Oh, he just caused more damage.
Pierre normally goes into hiding.
Well, and here's the
something bad
too.
happens. He goes into hiding for a couple of weeks. Everything gets done through, written statements or opposition or members of his party speaking on his behalf, but never him. There's never any video of him, whatnot. This time he decides to do something different. And of all the places he runs to is the CBC.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, wait a minute. The thing you would want him to defund for the last several years, suddenly that's who you run to?
Defund the CBC, unless I can use it to save my bacon, then I'll run to it. And then he runs to Rosemary Barton, of all people, a woman that he's been avoiding like the plague for the better part of 2.5 years. And then, so you're already bringing upon yourself the indignity of running to the CBC. Like this, the horrible experience of having to sit for a whole 15 minutes in the presence of Rosemary Barton, because you're taking like a martyr all of this in order to do damage control, and then you go and you refuse to do damage control.
Yeah, just I can't even.
He didn't even try.
No, he didn't. Okay, I'm gonna jump off here because I got a couple of things to do work-wise before I board my flight. But it's good to see everybody, and I'll be home later today.
Big hugs.
Well, I'm hopefully, if scheduling works out, I'll do a 4:00 show. I couldn't the last couple of days, but I was going to do one today, and I have a special guest joining me. I already made arrangements. I'm just hoping I can be home in time to get Lola out before 4 p.m. So we'll see. We'll see. Either
All
way,
right.
I'll be on 4:30, something like that.
Okay. Well, I look forward to it.
All right.
All right.
See you later.
See you later. Bonus Grizzly time. Yay. It's a good day. It's a good day, kids and cubs. All right. Before we get into the interview with Pierre, there's one thing I did forget to mention about what happened in Australia. And there is a piece of good news coming from all of it. And it's that, of course, the shooter was stopped in their tracks by a citizen in Australia. You know that statement that the Americans like to use, that the only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun? Well, turns out that's not exactly true. Because the gentleman who stopped the shooter, at least one of them, basically ran up behind him unarmed and essentially jumped on his back and tackled him to the ground for all intents and purposes. The person who did do that was shot twice, but seems that he will be okay. He wasn't shot in any place critical. So that is very important event. But yes, and he's basically being described as a hero. A lot of people are saying that not only a hero, but he did not hesitate whatsoever. And the gentleman's name is al-Ahmed. So, for a lot of things that a lot of people have said about Muslims over the past few decades, this is going to make a lot of people's heads explode, because the narrative that they would have wanted to get and engage in following an event like this didn't happen. And it's going to make a lot of people uncomfortable, people that love to hate, to try to explain how a Muslim man saved a whole bunch of people taking part in a Jewish Hanukkah event. According to BBC News, al-Ahmed, the bystander who disarmed one of the gunmen during the Bondi Beach attack in Sydney, acted out of, quote, pure conscience and humanity, his family tells BBC News Arabic. His father, Mohammed Fatah al-Ahmed, said his son did not hesitate when he saw people being attacked. Quote, Ahmed was driven by his sentiment, conscience, and humanity. When he rushed forward, stopped the gunman, and snatched his weapon, he says. He adds that Ahmed had been nearby, quote, by coincidence, having gone out with a friend for coffee when he encountered the scene. Quote, he saw the victims, the blood, women, and children lying on the street, and then acted, his father says. Pardon, as you could tell, I got something in my throat here. Sorry, that was a little weird. There we go. Hopefully I've handled that. According to the family, Ahmed's condition is stable, and he is awaiting further medical treatment for gunshot wounds to his shoulder and hand sustained during the attack. In Syria, where Ahmed was born and raised, his uncle Mohammed Ahmed al-Ahmed tells BBC Arabic that the family felt immense pride. Quote, he made us proud, our village, Syria, all Muslims, and the entire world, he said. And yes, absolutely, he did. Absolutely, he did. So just wanted to... I was glad when Mr. Grizzly popped in, because he mentioned something, and then it made me think of that I forgot to mention the positive part of the story. So thank you, sir, for seeing something and doing something, getting involved, putting your body literally in harm's way to save many lives, because who knows what the numbers would have been had that gentleman not seen a terrible situation and decide, well, if not me, who? And then intervene. We need more people like that in our world. Many more people like that who see something and decide that they are going to get involved. There's a little bit of a clip here. I think I have. No, I don't. I thought I had a clip of it because I saw it this morning, but I don't know where it went to because somebody had managed to catch on camera the gentleman sneaking up behind the shooter and actually taking it down. So, but yeah, thank God that there are brave people. Oh, there it is. I have it right here for you, kids and cubs. Since I will show it to you, since I managed to find it. And there we go. So here we have, you see him right there, hiding behind the car.
Oh! C'est un malade. Oh non, gros! Oh! Ouais, mais il y a son pote, il va se faire tirer dessus.
And listen, see, and you watch him, see? The man managed to wrestle the gun away from the other man and is pointing it at him, but Mr. al-Ahmed does not shoot him. Just gets him to go away and calls for help. Wow.
Le mec est hyper courageux.
This the guy was saying there, but he's really courageous. And then he wow. This is I guess that's the other suspect there. So there you have it, kids and cubs. That's how one of the shooters was taken down. Just somebody deciding to step in and seeing injustice and taking it upon themselves to intervene. Wow. That's something. I would like to think that in a similar situation, I would have that amount of courage. But we never know unless we're in that situation, do we? But I would like to think. Yes, indeed, he did not throw him to the ground. Ran up behind and struggled for the gun, and then the shooter took off. Yeah, you're right, Toronto Dan. That was my mistake. I had misstated that. It was not wrestled to the ground, but the gun was wrestled away from him. It was more precise. So yes, hopefully this Ahmad al-Ahmed gentleman gets to live like a king for the rest of his life. Because he did something absolutely fantastic. Many blessings upon him and all of his family, and may peace be upon them for the rest of eternity, for having done such a wonderful act of human kindness and service and of bravery and courage. All right. Moving in to the main topic here. So we know that the House has risen. We know the status of the bills that were being discussed at the moment. And we know that there was another floor crossing. One of the things being discussed prior to the floor crossing was Pierre Poilièvre's leadership. It kept on coming up every time. A lot of time, I should say, and how unserious Pierre truly is. And a lot of people have been writing articles about Pierre engaging in legislative tricks and playing games and that type of stuff. But Bob Fife on Power and Politics the other day had something very precise to state here. And how would I put it? The words he flattering, but they are very precise and accurate.
But this is a really serious problem that Pierre Poilièvre does not want to recognize. He is behaving very childlike and not as serious in the House of Commons. If you're a member of Parliament, you come here to want to do things. When you have a leader of the opposition criticizing the Prime Minister for traveling, saying he's on a vacation, when he's actually meeting global investors to invest in Canada, when he tries to do a stunt like he did earlier this week to divide Canadians and the country over a pipeline in Alberta, which the Alberta government supports and presumably most conservatives support, these are probably the kind of issues that drive somebody like a Michael Ma into the Liberal arms. And I suspect that they're talking to a couple more, given the pretty big hint that Mr. McKinnon gave you.
Yeah, he said they wander across the floor to say, we like what you're doing. And I said, kind of glibly, well, unless they walk all the way across the floor. And he had a certain eating grin on his face that I should have picked up on, but I didn't.
Indeed. Mr. McKinnon had a certain eating grin. Shit-eating grin would be the one. in case you didn't piece it together. But you're very clever, damn fam, so I'm sure you did. So yeah, Bob Fife basically calling out Pierre as being childlike, immature. At a time, again, when the public discourse is around leadership and seriousness, competence. Somehow we feel we can leave unsupervised with a pack of matches and won't burn down the whole house. Right? Pierre's not feeding in to that. And his entire party is not feeding in to that because we've heard all the things that were done to D'Entremont are being done here to Ma. He's a traitor. He's trash. What kind of person goes to one party's Christmas party one night and then just waltzes into the others? It must take somebody with a really sick mind to do that type of thing. Or it could be somebody that witnessed how it is that you guys behaved when D'Entremont wanted to leave and when Genereux wanted to leave. And said, you know what, I'm not down with that, so I'm just going to go to the Christmas party and make nicey with everyone, and then tomorrow I'm just going to go. Because thank you, I've seen the postcards, and I don't want to take that trip. Thank you. The Conservatives keep on not factoring in that what it is that they do or how they respond to situations may affect the way that the next person decides to handle the situation. If someone crosses the floor and you all use your minds and start trashing him in the media, the next person that wants to cross the floor will factor that in when strategizing how it is they're going to cross the floor. When a second person wants to cross the floor and it seems that you perhaps threatened him because he feels the need to send out a public statement saying, leave my family alone, and then resigns in a really, really weird way that nobody can really understand because it makes no sense. And it makes no sense that someone that was ready to continue in politics but go to another party suddenly just decides, oh, I'm just going to quit politics altogether. When somebody else who wants to cross the floor, who's thinking about it, notices that, they might change their tactics too. So are you really, given how you reacted to the first two, are you really surprised that if there was going to be another, that he would show up at the Christmas party one day and pretend like nothing's wrong? Do you really think that someone who thought that they needed an escape plan in the manner that Michael Ma thought he needed an escape plan would show up, make themselves conspicuous by not showing up at the Christmas party the night before? Or showing up at the Christmas party and trashing everybody in the party while they're there? Like, come on, conservatives. Wake up and smell your armpits a little bit. You're giving off stuff too. And people will factor that in and react to that. And then you got the Conservative Party, a whole bunch of different people. One person saying, I don't believe that Michael Ma paid us for his ticket for the Christmas party. Oh, Michael Ma, he stayed long enough to pick up a Secret Santa gift. We want it back. Yes, because these type of pronouncements. What type of person goes to one party on one night and another party on another night? He must be trash. I want my Secret Santa gift back. He didn't pay for the ticket. That really makes you look like a party that's not full of childish whiners. And that you're serious. If I were Michael Ma, I would show up with a check for $40 and my Secret Santa gift, and I'd bring a whole bunch of press and crew in tow, and I'd say, here, since it means so much to you guys, here's your $40 for the ticket, and here's the Secret Santa gift. I won't be needing them where I'm going. But I don't want you guys to not be able to get through your day because this happened. So here's the money and here's the gift. Are you all right now, poodles? Yeah? You'll be able to make it to dinner unassisted now? Okay. You can handle yourself for the rest of the day now, right? Okay, bye. I mean, none of this indicates a serious party, a party that is supposed to be a government in waiting. I want my Secret Santa present back. Grow up. It's Christmas season. There's an affordability crisis. People are busy. If you are going to solicit our attention, please make it for some reason other than you got your fifis in a twist because someone made off with a Secret Santa gift. Come on. Jeez. All right. So, as Mr. Ma, of course, arrived at the Liberal Christmas party the next day, and this is the clip I wanted to show you when we were together on Friday, but couldn't because I was at the Outdoor Beaver Lodge. But I have it now. It's going to last a couple of minutes, but here you can see the mood at Liberal that very night.
Bonsoir tout le monde. All right. Joyeux fête. So good. Oh, we're going to have fun tonight. We're going to do some good. James, thank you. Thank you, James, for that introduction. A passionate leader of our team, a rational voice in Parliament, or is it a rational leader of our team and a passionate voice in Parliament? James is both. He is the best caucus chair I have ever worked with. And James is a busy man, not just caucus chair, he chairs the Justice Committee. Yeah, let's hear it for the Justice Committee. They've been busy. They've been busy. In recent weeks, he's hosted the Irish Taoiseach, Michael Martin. Yep. What, that's it? That's it? Irish Taoiseach. Come on, come on. Okay, this is better. He hosted the American Gigolo, Richard Gere. Okay, that was a test. That was a generational test. That's the first time I ever heard of the guy. He hasn't changed, hasn't aged. As caucus chair, James has brought everyone together in our big, broad, and growing Liberal tent. Some of you, and I salute you, have been Liberals your whole life. Some of you apparently came back from the dead to be Liberals here tonight. Others, like me, are new to politics. I'm not a politician. Others are new to politics. I am now, yes, you're right. Some may have just joined our party. Some, like literally, just joined our party. So let's give a warm welcome to our newest member of the Liberal Party, Michael Ma, the MP for Union Martinville.
Wow, such a big welcome. Thank you. Thank you. All I want to say is Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a great 2026 coming to all of you. Thank you, and enjoy the party tonight.
Amazing. Thank you, Michael. All right. Chris D'Entremont. Chris D'Entremont. Chris, I want to thank you for bringing your experience, your ideas, your energy to our common mission of protecting safe communities, of growing a strong economy, of creating new opportunities for families in Nova Scotia and right across Canada. I hope you were up for the Taoiseach. Chris and Michael, I mean, look at this crowd. Your family. We're all over for Christmas. You are going to have a much better time spending Christmas with us than Christmas with the Cranks. We are all about Santa, not about the Grinch.
So there you go, kits and cubs. A little bit of what was going on at the Liberal Christmas party. As you can see, Prime Minister showing some personality, a little bit of humor. You could hear how loud the applause was when Michael Ma was announced. Even he was impressed by how loud it was. But there you go, kits and cubs. The Prime Minister clearly having a good day. Clearly having a good day and a good evening and a wonderful Christmas party. And like I said, I can't wait for the Conservative Party of Canada New Year's party. I'm sure it's going to be a rager. Emphasis on rage. All right, kids and cubs. So that's the stuff that was been that has been happening. So I think I have teased enough. Let's get to the main event, shall we? As we mentioned with Mr. Grizzly here, Pierre Poilièvre, rather than going into hiding, and hey, I will admit it myself because I was the one that said on the show on Friday, Pierre is probably going to go into hiding because normally that's what he does. When he made that bad comment about the RCMP, he went into hiding for a little bit when he regaled that. Anyway, I won't go into it. I think there was another time where he made some unfortunate comment and then went to hiding for 9 days and came up and gave a press conference at a synagogue where he had Melissa Lanzmann on one side and somebody on the other side. And Pierre had looked like he had spent the last week. We have an expression in French, endormi sur la corde à linge. So basically that somebody had put him on the outdoor la corde à linge. I don't even know what you call that in English. Oh my God, that's so terrible. Outside when you're drying your clothes and you have that thing. Oh my God, the word is not coming to me. Clothesline in English. Like he had been tied to a clothesline and spent the night hanging out on it. Looking really rough. Pierre looked rough again here, and low energy at the beginning. But his energy picked up a little bit during the interview, but he started the interview looking and sounding terrible. So just want to point that out. But here it is, Kits and Cubs. The first, we're going to go through it. I know, I apologize in advance for all of those who just cannot stand the sound of Pierre Poilièvre's voice. Can't get through him, turn down the volume every time you hear him. But on this one, I beg your indulgence. If you have some reserves, please find them and dig deep, I would ask, because this is one I think you do need to see. Because at this point, there is so much going on that you would that there has to come a point at which he just can no longer deny reality. And I really thought that if he was going to do something, that this one would probably be it. But Pierre is undeterred. So let's go into this. Get some Cubs. Rosemary Barton and Pierre Poilièvre. This is Pierre Poilièvre trying to do damage control.
The Liberals have gained another MP from the Conservatives, putting the governing party just one seat shy of a majority.
So let's give a warm welcome to our newest member of the Liberal Party, Michael Ma.
Greater Toronto Area MP Michael Ma raised the Liberals' seat count when he crossed the floor from the Conservatives on Thursday night. It was an unexpected move, as Ma was seen at the Conservative Christmas party just the night before and voted with his former party just hours before that announcement was made. It's the second Conservative MP to cross the floor and third to leave the Conservative Party since November. Joining me in studio now to talk about all of that and more, the leader of the official opposition and Conservative leader, Pierre Poilièvre. Nice to see you, Mr. Poilièvre.
Good to be with you.
Thanks for making the time. I want to start with what happened in Australia overnight. At least 11 people killed at a Hanukkah event on Bondi Beach. And just for your thoughts on that, sir.
Well, our condolences for the families. This is another act of anti-Semitic evil and terrorism that have become all too common. This is what happens when we allow hate, terrorism, anti-Semitism to be normalized. We in Canada have to reflect on the fact that there have been rampaging anti-Semitic riots on our streets, fire bombings of children's schools and of Jewish synagogues. It is absolutely unacceptable. We must destroy this terrorism, stand up against anti-Semitism, and make Canada and hopefully the world a safe place for people to wear their mezuzahs, to put their mezuzahs on their doors, to wear their Stars of David and their kippahs, and to be proud Jews. So I'm thinking of all of my Jewish friends and neighbors this Hanukkah.
Okay, move on to some politics now. And I want to talk politics and a bit of policy as well. Right. But
all right, so in that one, just wanted to point out here that there is an irony in Pierre saying this is what happens when we allow hate to be normalized. Again, sir, may I please ask you, after making a statement like that, to take a look into the dish you have decided to bring to the community potluck and see if you forgot to add the secret ingredient that makes everything taste better, love, into it. This is what happens when we allow hate to be normalized. This is a guy who has spent the last 2.5 years, if not more, of his career attempting to normalize hate. So I just found it really rich that he would engage in that particular type of discourse, given what it is that he pumps into the political and societal bloodstream of Canada on a daily basis. But all right, let's continue with the interview and see what it is that Pierre handled. Questions.
Let's start with what happened last week. You've now lost 2 MPs to the Liberal Party. Both have pointed to your leadership as issues. Michael Ma saying that he was more interested in unity than division. Is this a problem of your leadership at this point?
No, it's a problem of Mark Carney's leadership. That
Okay, boom, right off the bat. Okay, this is the type of interview it's going to be. Number one, he's given a sort of softball. I mean, it's a tough question to handle, but given that Pierre has been so in the bag for Israel on everything going on Israel and Palestine, it shouldn't be that hard for him to muster up some enthusiasm and some passion when such violence is committed against the Jewish community, and he has none here in this answer. He's giving us a boilerplate platitude statement, but he's not feeling it. There's no passion. There's no energy. I don't sense any fervent belief or disappointment on his part, or sadness or shock that this happened. Then we get into the first question of this interview. For all intents and purposes, you've lost 2 MPs to the Liberal. Does this say anything about your leadership? And she barely finishes getting the word leadership out that he's already, no, it's a problem of Mark Carney's leadership. And then he's going to blow right past the question and right into his talking points about how Mark Carney is a terrible whatever. But again, first question, he knows it's coming. She barely has the question out of her mouth that he does the typical Pierre thing. Hear the question because he doesn't listen to it. Clearly, right? Don't allow the question to sit or stand so that it has impact. Immediately reject it. Blame the other guy for the problem that is being attributed to you and that you are asked about, and then just launch into CPC media approved lines that we've all heard before. So don't engage with the host, don't engage with the question, don't engage with reality. Blame the other guy for whatever it is that you are being reproached for. He does that in 2 seconds. No, it's a problem with Mark Carney's leadership. Again, so clearly this is the type of interview it is going to be. He is announced to the world, and we're not going to get any deep introspection or deep thought, any reflection, any growth, any evolution. We're not going to get any of that from this gentleman during this interview. He's not here for that. He's got a totally other agenda and a whole other purpose, and he's there to do something else. So we're going to have a battle of wills during this interview. She's going to be trying to get something out of him, and he is going to be consistently refusing to provide it. All right. So let's go back to answer the question. You lost 2 MPs. Does this say anything about your leadership?
It's a problem of Mark Carney's leadership that after Canadians clearly rejected a costly Liberal majority because they knew it would mean higher grocery prices and higher food costs, he is trying to manipulate his way through backroom deals to get that majority.
He's allowed to do this, though, right? Floor crossing is allowed. You've benefited from it.
But he's trying to take...
Okay. Notice here that, again, low energy, doesn't really get into it as much as he could. Not very much passion, stuttering and stammering, not being able to get the full thought out. Rosemary Barton pushes back. He doesn't engage with the pushback. He keeps trying to talk over her a little bit, but not as forcefully as he normally does, and then just continues down the same track, not even acknowledging the pushback, that this is allowed. Floor crossings have been a thing since before Canada was Canada in the Westminster parliamentary system. Before Canada was Canada, but we were still using the Westminster parliamentary system pre-Confederation. In the mid-18th century, there have been floor crossings on North American soil using the Westminster parliamentary system. Since Confederation, greater than 300 MPs have crossed the floor. This is not a new thing. We have rules for this. Our system allows for this. It provides for this. It's been in our rules, again, since the mid-18th century, and nobody has ever changed the rules. There is no reason for conservatives to be pretending that this is backroom deals or underhanded, or that a majority gained through floor crossings, whatnot, would be somehow undemocratic or illegitimate. Our rules provide for them, always have provided for them. These are all the rules that we all agreed to play by when we started playing the game. So don't come crying to us now. We got nothing for you. All right. Let's keep going with Pierre and see what it else.
A costly majority that would drive up the cost of living and enrich liberal elites, of course, but not through democratic means. My message to Mark Carney is that if you want a costly majority government to drive up taxes and deficits, then you have to go to the Canadian people and have them vote for it, not do it by dirty backroom deals.
Okay, again, lots of loaded questions here, but dirty backroom deals? People are leaving you, Pierre. You are driving them away. In the case of Michael Ma, specifically, it would seem that it is Michael Ma that went over to the Liberals and asked them, hey, I'm really tired of this guy. Can I leave? He wasn't even poached, according to the word on the tweet. Michael Ma wasn't even poached. He just got tired of your whiny arse and decided to leave. Pierre and the Conservatives are on this campaign now to try to make you believe that a majority that would be achieved by floor crossing is a majority achieved by undemocratic means. When our parliamentary system, the one we adhere to and that we've adhered to ever since we were Canada, and even before we were Canada, has always provided for this. Now, of course, if the shoe were on the other foot and the Liberals had a one-seat majority and then lost it via a floor crossing, I'm sure that the Conservatives wouldn't be saying that the majority was lost through undemocratic means and dirty backroom deals, though, right? And that's how you know it's bullshit. That's how you know it's bullshit when it's coming from Pierre. All right. And again, where we stopped here on the pause perfectly reflects Pierre, doesn't it? All right. Back. I see Rosemary Barton is pushing back again on Pierre's claim.
I know you don't like it, and we can talk about the merits of floor crossing and whether it should be allowed, but it is allowed. This is something that is allowed to happen. So back to my question, is this a sign of a weakness in your leadership that two members of your caucus have left?
No, it's a sign of backroom dealings that will drive up the cost of living. And don't take my word for it, take Mr. Ma's word. This is what he said.
Okay, so Pierre, again, totally rejecting the question. Rosemary Barton pushes back during the question, bulldozes over her. Then comes back and say, listen, I understand you don't like it, but not everything you don't like is undemocratic. The system allows for it. So again, back to my question, does this say anything about your leadership? No. And then he goes back to his old parlor trick, the same one he did with d'Entremont, taking out a piece of paper and said, just the other day, he said, which is what he did in the House of Commons. We already debunked that tactic, Mr. One Trick Phony, in that you pulling out a piece of paper and reading out a quote that this person either made in the House of Commons or to a newspaper, quote that consists pretty much entirely of 100% CBC pre-approved media lines that you stuffed in your candidate's mouth and asked them to repeat or commanded them to repeat, lest there be negative consequences on them, such as less speaking time either in caucus or in the House. And now you're going to turn around and say these were heartfelt, genuine words that this person said that came from them and was not written for them, or that they were not told to speak, and use that to try to assassinate their character as being someone who is duplicitous. When you, sir, are the dean, the duke of duplicity. He's got one trick And he's breaking it out again. We just saw him do it in the House of Commons after D'Entremont. It didn't work for him, but that's all he's got. So he's offering us reruns again. This man just cannot meet the moment.
Just a few weeks ago, we are in a shameful situation in this country where over 2 million Canadians are visiting food banks every month. At the end of every month, paychecks are not going far enough. Why is that? I'm quoting, the Liberals want to deflect and blame this solely on the trade deficit. However, there's a simple economic fact. When we create more units of currency and map them into the economy that is not meaningfully producing more goods and services, we get inflation. As a case in point, in the last 5 years, I'll just finish up his quote. In the last 5 years, grocery prices have risen more than 20%. He blames that on Mark Carney's deficit, and that was only a few weeks ago. So
it's possible.
Okay, so again, Barton, tired of Pierre going into his media lines, tries to cut him off. He bulldozes over her again. She's going to push back. He's going to bulldoze over her yet again.
He didn't write that, though, as we know. Many of your MPs, many of your MPs are given talking.
They were his words. They were his words.
Okay, so
and
what?
You know what? He was right in them when he said that, and it was, but he.
What are you doing now? What are you?
See, he's trying to bulldoze over, but he doesn't actually have anything to say. He doesn't have anything to say. But he spoke those words. Yeah, but they still weren't his words. But he spoke them. Smile. He's got nothing to offer. So far, this is a terrible interview, and it doesn't get better.
What are you doing now to make sure other caucus members don't leave? What are you saying to them?
Okay, so Rosemary Barton, trying to move through another angle here. Specifically, you keep on talking about Carney, you keep on talking about Carney, you keep on talking about other people. What are you doing to make them stay? What are you saying to them to get them to not leave? Here's what Pierre answers.
Affordability, affordability, affordability.
Are you fucking kidding me? What are you telling your MPs to get them to stay? Affordability, affordability, affordability. How does that convince someone to stay? Again, not even engaging with the question at all. Pierre does not want to look inward, does not want to talk about his leadership abilities. He merely wants to talk about Carney and policy. Carney and policy. And Pierre doesn't have much policy. He's got slogans and taglines and very simplistic solutions. But he has no policy to speak of. All right. Back into it. Rosemary asked him what it is that he will do, and he said, affordability, affordability, affordability. Well, let's take a look at how affordability is supposed to convince people not to leave his caucus due to his toxic leadership style.
Canadians cannot afford grocery prices because of Carney's hidden Liberal taxes on food. What unites all Conservatives is the belief that you should be able to have a full bank account, a full fridge, and a full stomach all at the same time, something that's not possible after 10 years of
Listen, we were talking to Minister Champagne about that, and a gentleman who's using a food bank, because you're right, they are at record highs. But obviously there are some people who believe that Mark Carney has the solutions to those problems.
All right, so here, Kits and Cubs, again, you will notice that as Pierre was answering, Rosemary Barton gave a very unimpressed so, because she saw where he was going. Again, she cuts him off. Earlier in the episode, they did indeed talk about those subjects, and they did indeed had a guest. They had a guest that had immigrated to Canada a few years ago, and trying to make his way, and needs the food bank to help supplement what it is that he's bringing home, even though he is employed and trying to build a life for himself and his family here. So those subjects were indeed talked about and discussed. But right, again, Rosemary, the original question is, what are you telling your MPs to get them to stay, which he will not engage with in any way, shape, or form. So let's look at, see what he does with Rosemary Barton pressing him again.
Well, he is the one who's causing the problems. He's bringing in an industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and on fertilizer that drives up food prices, a food packaging tax that adds about $1 billion to grocery bills across the country, a new fuel tax that will be 7 cents a liter next year on farmers, on truckers who bring us our food. And then, of course, there's a $78 billion deficit, twice the size of Trudeau's, which is causing inflation, as Mr. Ma rightly pointed out. And I'm the only one who's going to reverse that inflationary policy. I've been saying this now for 5 years, and I regrettably continually proven right.
Okay, let's stop him right there. Not proven right. He's talking about $78 billion that haven't even been spent yet, so they cannot possibly be causing inflation. And here we have a situation here, again, where Rosemary Barton, as Pierre was trying to bulldoze over her, said, "What are you doing?" saying to make sure MPs are not leaving your party. Bulldozes over, blows past the question, starts attacking Carney again. Basically, that's shorthand for him. Well, the answer to your question, Rosie, is sweet fuck all, but of course I can't say that. So let me just go in and list my stump speech again. Rosie cuts him off. But obviously, there are some people who believe that Mark Carney has the solutions to those problems. Opposite guy, well, he's the one who's causing the problems. Again, do not engage with the claim, reject it, say no, blame the other guy for what it is that you are being accused of, and then just go into your stump speech. He does it again and again and again. And so now he is blaming Carney, but watch where he ends it, this answer, because once again, he misses Justin.
That when you spend more and tax more, then Canadians have to pay more for groceries after 10 Liberal years.
Let's talk.
Oh, after 10 Liberal years. Oh, he misses Justin. All right, back to Rosie.
A bit about policy, because that's obviously where you want to go to.
Why not?
The memorandum of understanding with Alberta. The overall goal of that deal is to get a pipeline, at least one pipeline to the British Columbia coast to get more oil to Asian markets. Do you think that the fundamentals behind that deal are a good idea? That itself is a good idea?
A pipeline to the Pacific?
Well, that part of the deal that the Prime Minister has put on the table with the Alberta Premier makes sense.
Yes, obviously. That's why I put forward a motion in favor of that pipeline. But Mark Carney doesn't think it's a good idea. He voted against his own promised pipeline.
Well, he did that because it didn't have the industrial carbon price in it, as you know.
You make a very good point.
Yes.
Mark?
Okay, so Pierre, again, being snarky, especially with a female journalist, he lied. He outright lied. He said Pierre Carney voted against his MOU. He did not. That's not what Pierre put in there. And she corrected him. Says, "Oh, yes, you make a very good point." Again, that type of condescending behavior with a female journalist, not something that works for him, but can't seem to avoid doing it. Pierre's just got to be Pierre, I guess. Let's keep going.
If you had put the whole MOU on the table to vote against, it probably would have worked out better for you in that instance.
But then I would be voting for a costly carbon tax, as you point out, a tax on food, because when you tax the farm equipment and fertilizer, you tax the food. A tax on homes, because when you tax cement, glass, concrete, wood, and other things.
But the Premier of Alberta is comfortable with industrial carbon pricing.
If I could, you asked me why I didn't put it in, because I am against carbon taxes, period. Now, let's talk about the amazing and brilliant Premier of Alberta, who said just the other day when she was endorsing my leadership that I would not have forced a carbon tax on her. And if I were Prime Minister right now, we'd be well on the way to planning a pipeline, something that is not happening under the current Liberal government. Now, let's be clear about Mark Carney. He is a counterfeit. He's pretending to adopt my policies because he knows they're popular, but he's quietly working against them. He's told his Liberal caucus.
You don't believe that he actually wants a pipeline?
Okay, we have to stop there because there's a lot of stuff going on here. Okay, number one, right? Danielle Smith did come out and endorse Pierre Poilièvre and said positive things about it. But according to Robert Benzie, of the Toronto Star. Behind the scenes, Danielle Smith is very, 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 very pissed off at Pierre Poilièvre because what he is doing, in her estimation, is not only undermining her, but undermining the MOU and even the possibility of a pipeline. Just like Liberal MP Corey Hogan said when Pierre was trying his little parlor trick game. And Hogan said, well, if we vote for it, Pierre's going to accuse us of this. And if we vote against it, Pierre's going to accuse us of this. So we're all just going to vote against it and just not play his game. Right? And you see Pierre doing it right now, claiming that Mark Carney voted against his own pipeline. No, he did not. He voted against a version of a pipeline that Pierre presented that he confirms in this interview because he's saying, well, I didn't put the full pipeline in there because if I voted for a full pipeline the way that Mark Carney proposed it, I would be voting for a costly carbon tax. So what Pierre Poilièvre here is doing is, if it sounds familiar, it's because it is. He's doing the same thing to Alberta that he tried to do to Ukraine. Remember when Ukraine wanted an expanded free trade deal with Canada and Pierre voted against it and opposed it because, according to Pierre, there were some provisions within it that would, quote unquote, force Ukraine to deal with carbon in some type of way, even though Ukraine had already had a carbon price for many years and their obligation to get with the program on carbon pricing actually came from the EU because Ukraine wants to join it officially, and the EU has this common border adjustment mechanism for carbon coming into effect, I think, at the beginning of 2026. So Ukraine was doing what it needed to do to get in line with that. And Pierre decided from the opposition benches that rather than help the people of Ukraine, what was more important was him staying true to himself on his purity test on carbon pricing. There shall be no carbon pricing in Canada, but there shall be no carbon pricing anywhere in the world. The leader, ruler, Pierre, has decided from the opposition benches that he was going to tell Ukraine what it can do within its own borders with regard to carbon. And that he would let Ukraine twist in the wind on free trade if it meant him having to acknowledge carbon. Well, now he's doing the same thing. He's doing the exact same thing here. This Pierre would deny Alberta. Pierre is essentially saying here, Pierre would deny Alberta a right, the possibility of having a pipeline to Tidewater for its oil if it is in any way at the same time simultaneously addressing carbon. It's an entirely selfish position. But he actually said the quiet part out loud. What is more important to me, Pierre Poilièvre, as leader of the opposition, would be important to me as Pierre Poilièvre, Prime Minister of Canada, should I be Prime Minister of Canada one day, is to make sure that nobody in the world whatsoever does anything to address the carbon issue. That's more important than free trade deals. It's more important than getting our resources to market. It's more important than anything. Everything comes second to me not agreeing to anything that has to do with carbon. So what are you saying? It's not a good look. It's not a good look. If people choose things for themselves, and then you just show up and then systematically decide you're not allowed to have that, and I'm going to dedicate myself to making sure that you can't have that or you can't implement that, even if it's none of my business, as is the case with Ukraine, then I'm going to do that. That's not leadership. That's petulance and intervention. All right. Let's go back to Pierre's disastrous interview. Pierre's not helping himself here so far. Not at all.
The Alberta Premier believes that.
I do believe what he voted against, which was the pipeline. And Mark, let's
again, okay. Have to stop. I'm sorry, it wasn't a long time there. But you will notice that Pierre made sure that he delivered enough ass-kissing to Danielle Smith in those answers, because he's putting himself in a position where he's basically saying Danielle Smith was wrong to agree to that MOU. Right? Danielle Smith is not impressed with him. And he's trying to distance himself from the carbon provisions of the MOU while still trying to keep Danielle Smith close. And you can't do that because Danielle Smith agreed to it. Also, the province of Alberta agreed to that way back in 2007. They've had industrial carbon pricing, and you now represent a riding in Alberta, sir. You would think that you would stand up for decisions that Albertans have already made for themselves, but no. Again, carbon pricing is so important to you to be the thing that you defeat that you'll actually impede Danielle Smith. And you know you're doing it because you're covering your ass by paying her compliments while you're telling everybody in Canada that she was essentially very stupid to agree to anything that had carbon. And at the same time, he's trying to make us believe that Mark Carney has sacrificed political capital throughout the country and with various groups for a pipeline idea that he is stealing from the Conservatives but doesn't really want to implement. We are supposed to believe. Take
a look at the history here. What you have to believe to trust Mark Carney on this. His party killed this pipeline in a November of 2016 cabinet decision. Mark Carney endorsed that decision to kill the pipeline. I don't believe that Mark Carney has changed from the things that he wrote for 10 years and that his party did for 10 years, which is to block pipelines and try to keep oil and gas in the ground.
Then why does Danielle Smith believe him?
Danielle Smith was very clever because she forced Carney to flip-flop and break his word to his Leave It in the Ground caucus by withdrawing his threatened emissions cap and clean electricity regulations, because those things would have driven up the cost of energy and killed even more jobs. Now, Ms. Smith defended her province by forcing Carney to flip-flop on that. But that, at the end of the day, does not mean that we should give him credit. He was threatening to do a lot of damage. Now he's doing a little less damage. Why doesn't he just get out of the way? We know what it takes to get a pipeline done. The federal government has the sole legal authority to approve it. Yeah. So approve it. Okay. So set the corridor, and the private sector will build it because it's wildly profitable.
Okay. Now here's some more bullshit from Pierre Poilièvre, who says, "Just sign the permit, build it." There's no project. There's no permit to sign. Pierre Poilièvre is still in the days that all he needs to do is get out of the way and sign a construction permit, and they'll be shovel in the ground tomorrow. There is no route. There is no proponent. There's no agreement from British Columbia. There's no agreement from First Nations. There aren't even pledges from companies for oil to be put in that pipeline. There's no commitments for projects and pledges to actually fill the pipeline once it's built so that it could actually transport anything. Pierre's got nothing, but Pierre wants you to believe that all Bart Carney has to do is say, "I declare that there will be a pipeline to Tidewater, sign it, and that there will be a shovel in the ground tomorrow." He thinks you're stupid. He thinks you're stupid. And in this answer, "Oh, Danielle Smith was so clever because she got Mark Carney to flip-flop." I'm like, Mark Carney got Danielle Smith to sign on to industrial carbon pricing that goes up to $130 per ton rather than 25 where it is now, and to methane reduction measures, and to the Pathways project, which would be carbon capture and storage, as well as to interties electrically. These are all things that Danielle Smith opposed. But Danielle Smith is the one that's clever for getting Mark Carney to flip-flop, but Mark Carney is not clever at all for getting Danielle Smith to agree to all this. It can't be a situation where both people were both clever and got each other to put a little water in their wine in order to come to something that would be for the benefit of a greater number or for more people. No, Danielle Smith got Carney to flip-flop, and Carney, well, he doesn't even mean it anyway, so what's the point? Again, avoiding the uncomfortable situation, then, if Danielle Smith was so clever to get Mark Carney to flip-flop on a deal that he never intends to follow through on anyway, then what did Danielle Smith actually get? And how clever was she really to sign a deal that will never happen, according to Pierre? The narrative doesn't make sense And this is the thing that I found surprising about this interview, because usually Pierre Poilièvre has a little more time to shape his message and to make sure that there are fewer holes in this narrative, even though there are always plenty of them, because he lies like he breathes and just cannot adhere to reality. But in this case, the holes in his narrative are so big that you can punch a hole through them by blowing on them. His case here is super flimsy. All right, let's go back again to with Rosemary Barton.
You referenced Northern Gateway, and you know that the problems there, yes, it was a cabinet decision, but the problem is British Columbia and First Nations. So what would you do to try and get their support for a pipeline? Or would you just say, too bad, we're doing it?
We're doing it.
Oh. So you wouldn't bother with consultation?
Of course I would consult.
Yeah.
That's what my motion said.
Yeah.
Okay, again, Rosemary Barton pushing back out the real reasons for which Northern Gateway was rejected. Pierre blowing past those and asking him, would you just do it anyway? He just turns around, I would just do it. So you wouldn't consult. Oh, I would do consultation. Well, what's the purpose of consultation if you've already decided? The end result, no, we're doing it. Come on. If you've got free, prior, and informed consent, but you've already decided it is happening before you even engage, that is not a consultation. So here, Pierre is trying to have it both ways here, claiming that he would indeed build the pipeline, no question. He would bulldoze everyone, but he would talk about them politely, about him bulldozing them, I guess, prior to actually doing it, is his idea of consultation.
We do consultations, but we are going to build a pipeline when I'm Prime Minister. As for British Columbia, the Premier does not have a veto. No. Under our Constitution, Section 92, it is the exclusive domain of the federal government, and under Bill C-5, which Mark Carney asked for, it is the exclusive decision of the Prime Minister. So there's only one person who will decide on this in the end, and that is the Prime Minister of Canada. Mark Carney is quietly whispering to the Leave It in the Ground Liberal caucus, there will never be a pipeline, don't worry.
He must not be saying that because Stephen Guilbeault quit.
Stephen Guilbeault quit because of the emissions cap.
All right. So again, let's get through this bullshit again. So here we go. Pierre Poilièvre, the big conspiracy theory. Mark Carney, who just got outplayed by Danielle Smith, actually is just putting on this big act that he wants a pipeline, spending all this time, all these resources, all this negotiating time, when the most valuable asset a prime minister has is their time, trying to get this MOU, blowing political capital with what Pierre calls the Leave It in the Ground, I guess, or the Mud Hut segment of the Liberal Party, pissing off Quebecers, the 44 seats that he got in Quebec, because he's imposing a pipeline, the 20 seats in British Columbia, which was a record for the Liberals because of the pipeline, relations with Indigenous groups because of the pipeline, relations with environmentalists because of the pipeline, that Mark Carney is willing to blow all of that capital right now for a deal he doesn't really mean will happen. Do you believe that? Do you believe that, Canada? That a man as successful, good at negotiating deals, rigorous, who this reputation likes to be over-informed rather than uninformed, underinformed, would move all these chess pieces and flap his arms and move a lot of wind, all for something he doesn't really mean or intend to do? Because that's what Pierre wants you to believe here. It just makes no sense. Now, as you can see, Pierre is gaining a little energy in this interview now, and now he's happy, right? Because he's in his happy place, telling lies and smearing people and sticking it to people. But none of what he says here is true. It's not even logical. Let's keep going.
But he is saying it, and his own MPs in British Columbia are saying it. And then he voted against a pipeline in the House of Commons. What he's doing, let's be clear, pipelines are popular and profitable. So he's pretending that he's open to one until after the next election so that he can try to win pro-pipeline voters. But then his plan is to kill the project. If you want a pipeline to the Pacific, to add $30 billion of overseas exports, the biggest export project overseas in Canadian history, you will need a conservative government that will get out of the way and let it happen.
Okay,
All right. Again, now Pierre is very, very happy again because he's doing his stump speech thing again. But let's see the limits of this argument. Mark Carney keeps on saying he wants a pipeline, but he's only saying that to get to the next election. And once we have another election and Mark Carney wins it again, Pierre showing great confidence in his abilities, then he'll kill the pipeline. You just wait, you'll see. Except that that's the exact same thing that Pierre tried on us with consumer carbon pricing, if you remember. Oh, Mark Carney keeps on saying he's going to eliminate the carbon tax, but he didn't repeal it in legislation yet, so it still exists. And once he gets elected, he's going to slap it right back on. Well, he didn't. Pierre was wrong about that. Pierre literally tried that line on us in the last election. Mark Carney promised you he was going to remove the consumer carbon tax, but you vote for him and then just wait, you see. He's going to change his mind as soon as he becomes prime minister. Not only is he going to put it back, but he's going to rise it. He's going to make it go up. And the tax that he, consumer carbon pricing, which he removed prior to the election, actually, is still gone and is not coming back. So if Pierre was wrong about that, Pierre is probably wrong about this too. But it's just amazing that some guy that was so wrong on a claim that he made for so long, rather than learning from it, maybe I shouldn't say that again because it makes me look stupid, goes right back to the well and tries it again. He was wrong the first time. There's no reason for us to believe he would be right the second time. But he still wants us to believe that Mark Carney is the person that has the luxury to waste time that much that he would spend the time of this entire mandate until there's a next election promising there'd be a pipeline, only to win another election and then say, ha, psych. Again, these are not the thoughts of a man who's organized and rational up here. None of this makes sense. All you have to do is sit down, slow it down from his fast talking, and think, for what Pierre says to be true, what else also has to be true? We would have to believe that Mark Carney is a man that loves wasting time. You've been watching Mark Carney go. Do you get the impression that Mark Carney is a man who likes to waste time on futile purposes, make work purposes, show pony purposes? Is there anything that you've known about Mark Carney, either since he became Liberal leader or prime minister, or if you were familiar with his work before, that gives you the impression that that's the type of man that has that as a go-to card in a repertoire? Again, it just makes no sense. This is supposed to be damage control, kids and cubs. This is supposed to be Pierre trying to help himself. He doesn't dare to remain in hiding. Let's keep going.
I want to ask you about trade, because that's the other piece that is coming in the new year. There's still no deal. Talks are still stalled, although the Prime Minister speaks to the President. Do you think that the CUSMA review is now the best way forward for Canada in getting any kind of deal with the United States?
My position is that we need tariff-free access to the biggest and most lucrative market in the world, which we had before the Liberal government was elected in 2015. Of course, after the Liberals got in, President Obama started hammering us with new tariffs on softwood lumber that Harper had got lifted. They brought in new Buy America rules. and then it's been one defeat after another. Now,
So
Mark
what would
Carney
you do?
was,
What do you think they should be doing here?
We should reflect on the fact that Mark Carney was elected on one promise, that he would negotiate a win with President Trump by July 21st. And here we are, about a half a year later. His promise is broken. American tariffs have doubled. They've tripled on softwood lumber.
But some of that is because of the president. So I'm genuinely curious. What would you do in dealing with Donald Trump?
I will answer that question, but let's be clear.
Yeah.
Mark Carney said he could handle Donald Trump.
Well, so did you.
So, and I would have if I were Prime Minister right now.
So what he should...
All right. Lots of bullshit there. Lots of bullshit there. And a little previous bullshit because I had forgotten to have to mention it before. In a previous question, he was asked specifically, or he was challenged by Rosemary Barton, by saying, that when he was pretending that Mark Carney was doing all this for show, says, yeah, but Guilbeault quit. I mean, it cost him something. And then Pierre was like, but that was because of the emissions cap, not the MOU. Oh, yes, Stephen Guilbeault quit because there was the emissions cap project. The emissions cap project that was on the entire time he was in cabinet, or maybe most of the entire time that he was in cabinet under Justin Trudeau. But it's now that Justin Trudeau is gone, and after the MOU is signed, that Guilbeault, we are supposed to believe, quits because of the emissions cap several years later, according to Pierre. Except logically, that doesn't work for him because if quote-unquote scheming Carney, as Pierre wants us to believe he is ensuring the pipeline will never happen in secret, then the need to nix the emissions cap is moot, and Guilbeault would have had no reason to quit. Right? If you're promising Danielle Smith that you're going to take away the emissions cap, but you're never actually going to build the pipeline, then you don't really have to take away the emissions cap. And therefore, Guilbeault has no reason to leave. Pierre can't even keep his own bullshit straight for it to last 3 seconds. And of course, him trying to say that Carney's only trying to do this so that he can kill it. Pierre, I think... again, when he's talking about trade, pretending, that he would have already had a deal with Trump. And again, this doesn't work for Pierre because in order for that to be true, we would have to be true that Pierre would be able to accomplish what no other world leader on the planet has been able to do. If Trump had been able to make deals with 30, 40, or 50 nations, but not Canada, and Pierre could turn around and says, well, I would have gotten done, maybe there would have been some credible basis in reality. Something to which we could tether that statement that exists in reality for it to be somewhat believable. But Pierre here is basically saying, had he been Prime Minister instead of Mark Carney, he already would have had a deal, achieved something that nobody else on the planet has been able to achieve. And again, I would like to remind you, kids and cubs, that the only tariff-free deal that there actually was on the table, and that there ever has been on the table when it comes to Donald Trump, was to be assumed by the United States as their 51st state. So once again, I keep on stating every time Pierre says that he would have achieved a deal by now, the only deal on the table being, and we know what the only deal like that on the table was, Pierre is essentially telling us that we would be the 51st state by now, had he been elected. There's no other conclusion to reach. All right. Going to talk about, and again, coming back and saying that Mark Carney was elected on one promise to achieve a trade deal by July 21st. No, that's not why Mark Carney was elected. Mark Carney was elected because he was presenting a serious option, especially when compared to that which Pierre was offering and the Conservatives were offering, and promised not only that he would do his best to reach a deal that does not exist. We have since found out because nobody has been able to reach such a deal. But we also elected him to reorient our economy and to preside over a massive overhaul of the Canadian economy, such that we were less dependent in the future on the United States and more globally connected maximizing our global connections achieved through previous free trade agreements, negotiating more, diversifying our production lines, and diversifying our trade partners. The deal with Donald Trump was one of many things for which we elected Mark Carney. But Pierre Poilièvre, the master in reductionism, wants you to believe that the only reason we elected Mark Carney was to have a deal with the United States by July 21st, a deal that clearly was never on offer. Again, it just makes no sense. All right, back to Pierre's festival of showing that he is unable to dig up.
We have to negotiate from a position of strength.
Yep.
And I have to go back. We need to approve pipelines and natural gas projects and other major resource projects that allow us to ship our single biggest export overseas, so that we are not monolithically dependent on the Americans. We need to get rid of the capital gains tax on reinvestments in Canada to bring back the $500 billion of investment Liberals have driven into the U.S. economy. And then you can sit down with the president and say, look, now we're selling our resources to the Asians, to the Europeans. Now we're bringing back our investment and becoming more sovereign, strong, and self-reliant. Now we're in a position of strength. Now let's negotiate. And that would be a far better approach than what Mr. Carney is doing, which is blocking these projects, keeping all of the liberal taxes and anti-resource project laws in place of the last 10 years, and giving even more of our investment to the Americans.
All right. This answer makes absolutely no sense whatsoever from Pierre Poilièvre. None. Because and I'm hoping that you spotted it, because Pierre appears to have forgotten how time works in this one. He is in this whole section here, right? He's talking about a lot of things. He said somewhere in these last few segments that on trade, that we had tariff-free access to the world's most lucrative market prior to the Liberals being elected in 2015, which is a lie, because Canada has never, ever, ever, ever in our history had full tariff-free access to the United States. And if anybody should know that, it is Pierre Poilièvre, because after all, he does have a minor, one would say, some might even say more than, but obsessed with wood and lumber. And if Pierre knows anything about wood and lumber, and knows anything about the 10 years in which he was in government, he knows that there was a softwood lumber agreement, and that we've always had troubles with softwood lumber with the United States. And he will remember, he keeps on saying that those tariffs that Harper had lifted on softwood lumber. Again, I would like to remind you that Harper did not have tariffs on softwood lumber lifted. We had court proceedings going on with the United States that had lasted years upon years upon years upon years, and we were at the final stage of the final court, where we were going to get the final decision, which most likely would have won in our favor, because pretty much every decision up until then went in our favor. And then hours before the verdict was released, Stephen Harper decided to negotiate with George Bush II, I think. Shrub 2, decided to negotiate a deal that would impose quotas and tariffs on us, maybe at a lesser rate, in exchange for just pretending that the years and years and years and millions and millions and millions of dollars in court action and all the cases that we won didn't matter. And then he signed that agreement before the court decision was made, so we didn't have the benefit of jurisprudence in the decision, a final decision saying that we were right all along, that we can stick to. Not that it would have mattered, because as Jacques Hussein reminded us recently, when it comes to trade, the United States does what it wants, regardless of legal decisions. But we would have had that jurisprudence. But what Stephen Harper did was cave totally to the Americans, sign a brand new deal, all from scratch, which the Americans respected for a total of 5 months and 13 days before they issued a challenge. Pierre Poilièvre wants you to believe that we had a whole bunch of tariffs that started under Obama, and that's when things went terrible. But things went terrible under Bush too. When we signed the agreement, and then 5 months later, the Americans challenged us, and then started the process of challenging them in court all the way from square one. And Pierre should know about this because Pierre brags about this a lot and gets it wrong every single time that he brags about it. But every time you hear a conservative brag about Stephen Harper having lifted the tariffs on softwood lumber, it lasted for 5 months and 13 days, and it wasn't a lift. We caved to the United States. We agreed to have more quotas and tariffs put on us before the legal decision came down. And we sent ourselves back to square one. That was conservatives who did that to us. So just want to, Pierre bullshits and conservatives bullshit about this one constantly, all the time. All the time. Again, Rosemary Barton tries to point out here, again, asked again, what will you do? Rosemary Barton has enough of his rambling, goes, but I'm generally curious, what would you do in dealing with Donald Trump? Pierre Poilièvre, I will answer that question, but let's be clear. Mark Carney said, bah, 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 bah. We're asking you about you. Get Mark Carney's name out of your mouth. Clearly, by this time, Pierre has realized that this interview is not going well and he's trying to run out the clock. Right? Just, Mark Carney, and then going into a list of all the bad things Mark Carney did, go into the list of all the bad things he did go. So he's running out the clock because this is not working for him. And then he goes to, we need to negotiate from a position of strength. Again, when we know that Pierre Poilièvre's favorite position in front of Donald Trump is belly down, ass up. But we need to negotiate from a position of strength, which he always says, but then never explains what that really means. And then goes on and lists a whole bunch of things that Prime Minister Mark Carney is currently trying to accomplish, as Pierre keeps on inserting sticks in the spokes. Right? All the things that we would build pipelines and we would try to build it. We'd like, what do you think that Mark Carney is doing right now? We remove the capital gains tax. What do you think Mark Carney is trying to do right now? And there's the irony, right? Pierre Poilièvre still talking about we have to remove the capital gains tax. There's legislation for that. But it hasn't passed and received royal assent. Why? Because the conservatives have been holding it up. The conservatives who keep on saying, oh yeah, affordability, we need to cut taxes. Well, when then Mark Carney tries to do that, well, then they hold it up and make sure that we don't get the tax cut. That's conservatives for you. So he blows up in this answer all the work that he's been doing over the past few months. Because if you remember, Pierre Poilièvre for the past few months is, well, where's the deal already? Mark Carney, you promised you would have a deal by July 21st. You don't have a deal yet. You promised. Why don't you just do what you promised? I would have had negotiated a deal already if I were prime minister at this time. And then while he's saying that his plan, when Rosemary Barton goes, what would you do? My plan is to take the time required to get into a position of strength. I would negotiate from a position of strength. Well, that means you need to get in a position of strength. And what's that? Well, I would negotiate deals to have pipelines built and whatnot. So basically, you're telling us that it would take you a few years to get into that position of strength that you want to negotiate from as the United States is attacking us in real time, after which you will say, now we're in a position of strength. Now let's negotiate. Well, if you have to do all of this stuff to get yourself into a position of strength before you can go up to the Americans and say, now we're in a position of strength, now let's negotiate, why the hell are you expecting that Mark Carney would have had an entire trade deal finalized by now? You're basically confessing right now that you wouldn't be able to get it done either, as you are claiming you can. Again, the thing from Pierre, again, just does not make sense. And now in this interview, right, I would have loved Rosie Barton to just spend those 15 minutes hammering him on leadership and him not. So, well, I'm asking about you. Why are you so afraid to talk about you? Why are you refusing to talk about you? I asked, what would you do? And the third word out of your mouth is Mark Carney. Why are you doing that? Why can't you talk about yourself? Why don't you want to talk about your leadership style? Why are you avoiding? Why are you deflecting? Like I would have loved to see 15 minutes of her just riding him and making him uncomfortable like that. But she realized that that was not going to go anywhere. So she asked him other questions. And normally I don't like that, but Rosie Barton asked him questions and gave a lot of pushback that were not much more favorable to him, unfortunately. Asking about the MOU pipeline, where the pipeline MOU, where his thoughts are a mess. Asking about trade with the United States, where his thoughts are a mess. Asking, right? So Rosemary Barton, by the questions she is choosing, and she's not being hyper aggressive about it. And a lot of people said, "Oh, she's going to lob him a whole bunch of softballs." They're actually very strategic questions. It's like, listen, the question is, the issue is with your leadership. Okay, you don't want to answer about your leadership with your MPs? Well, let's ask about your ability to lead your leadership, your abilities for leadership on trade, your abilities for leadership when it comes to dealing with the provinces, with the MOU, about getting a pipeline built, about all those things. And in every single answer, he comes out significantly lacking and always playing the same game. Claiming he can make something happen that nobody else has made happen, denying reality, not engaging with a question in good faith. It's the same plays we've been seeing over and over and over again. There's nothing original, there's nothing new, there's nothing fresh. It's literally a slice of stale Wonder Bread. And there's not much wonder. All right. Let's get back to Mr. Poilièvre and Rosemary Barton. All right. So Rosemary Barton, at the end, after giving him all these other questions, basically comes back to her first question again. Uh-oh, the year-end dreaded introspection question. A lot has happened this year. Have you learned anything? Anything at all? You can almost hear her screaming. And Pierre nodding. Oh, yes, see, I understand your question. Let's see how Pierre handles the most softball, under normal circumstances, of softball questions. Have you learned anything this year? Anything? Let's see what Pierre claims he's done this year.
I reflect a lot on why I'm doing this.
Oh, come on. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. Have you learned everything? Let me answer about why I do this. Not the question, not even attempting to engage.
Why am I in this? And it's the elderly woman who said to me that going shopping used to be her favorite thing to do every week. Now she walks down a grocery aisle and she feels anxious and angry because of how much it costs to fill her fridge, that she gets home and she's stressed out because she cannot afford to eat. I think the young guy I met who wants to start a family, he's in his 30s, he's been working his whole adult life, and he can't afford a down payment. I am in it for these people, and I need to give them hope. That's what this country needs now more than ever. Hope that you will again be able to afford a home, hope that you can afford food, hope that you'll be safe on your streets. And that will be the obsession of my leadership, to provide hope for a better future.
And that's the why, and super important, obviously, but it's the how I'm asking about, whether you think that you are doing the how the right way.
Well, on the how, so let's break it down. On food, the how is we got to get rid of the industrial carbon tax on food.
I don't mean the policies. I mean you as a leader, whether you feel you're doing that part the right way.
Oh my God, kids and cubs. And that's the part of the interview where I sunk my head into my hands. It says, oh no, it gets worse. Because that last answer, the one to the question previous here, was bad enough from Pierre. I mean, it was terrible, right? He's given a second swing at bat. How familiar for him. To answer the question about whether he's learned anything or needs to change anything about his leadership, I reflect a lot on why I'm doing this. Well, on the upside, based on that press availability where he was asked whether or not he would change anything, he said no, but just went on. It seems that his comms people convinced them that looking right into the camera and straight up saying, no, I haven't learned anything, will come across as dickish. So answer something else. But clearly the answer is still no. He hasn't learned anything because he won't even engage with the question. This is so bad. I'm like, oh, girl, no. And then it gets worse because Barton says, yeah, that's the why you're doing this. But I asked about the how. And it is, the how. And then he goes back to talking about policy again, how he'd address the issues that he claims allegedly motivate him rather than speaking of his leadership style. I'm like, no, save yourself. Again, dig up. Clearly, the question was about you. And that's when it's just become confirmed that this dude just can't human. He can't human. He only knows how to be a political animal, some character that he's playing. I couldn't believe I was witnessing in real time. I asked you, I'm not asking you how you would do it policy-wise. I'm asking how you personally would do this. Now, unfortunately, Rosemary Barton is imprecise in her follow-up, and Pierre takes the escape hatch, which means no introspection and nothing to offer. So let's look how Pierre finishes this debacle of an attempt at damage control.
People and talk about what you think are the right solutions.
Yeah, the right solutions, it's not just the industrial carbon tax, though we have to, the underlying problem with inflation is that they're printing money. And whenever you print money, then you bid up the goods that Canadians buy. And it enriches a small group of liberal elite corporate insiders because all their assets go up. But then the working class people who actually carry this country on their shoulders, they get ripped off. And so we need to stop the money printing, get our budget back into balance, cut the bureaucracy, consultants, corporate welfare, foreign aid, handouts to phony refugees, cut that all off, because then you can bring down the deficits, the inflation, and the taxes, and then that young person I met will be able to afford a down payment, and that wonderful grandmother will be able to once again enjoy her visit to the grocery store because she can afford groceries.
Are you looking forward to Christmas with your holiday,
Very
your
much
family?
so.
Yeah.
We procrastinated on letters to Santa, and so we got them written last night.
Okay.
And
Hopefully you'll get them in time.
Well, I know we put them on the Christmas tree, and there was an elf that came and took the letter, and we understand that through that express service, it's going to make it to the North Pole just in time.
Nice of you to come back. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Appreciate
Many
it very
blessings.
much.
Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you very much. That's Pierre Poilièvre, leader of the official opposition and conservative leader, of course.
Not for long, hopefully. So yeah. And here's the thing. At the end of this interview, Pierre shows that he can talk about himself and talk personally. When it's about Christmas presents. What are your plans for Christmas? But when it's what are your plans for the country, all of a sudden he's got nothing. This was bad. This was terribly bad. If I was like in the Conservative Party of Canada inner circle, like the really, really top inner circle, that small little circle that discusses things, I'd be like picking up the phone and calling Pierre into the office for a chat and letting him know that he is done. This is not a man who can handle reality as it is. This is not a man who has the skills to cope with rapidly changing situations. This is not a man who has an ability to think on his feet. This is not an man that has an ability to weave a narrative that remains consistent and cogent and coherent. Not only over time, but with itself. This is a very lazy man. At least intellectually. Extremely lazy. I do not know what it is he thought that given this type of interview would do for him. Other than saying, he didn't go into hiding, at least he took some questions. If you can consider that taking questions, because he didn't really engage or answer. But yeah, this is as far as I'm concerned, this is an utter and complete total Kersplatfest. He did not help himself with this. He did not help himself in any way, shape, or form. This is how not to give an interview in a situation like this. Textbook how not to. I do not know what is going on in conservative land. I do not know if all of this is a brave face. I do not know if they are really genuinely this high on their own supply. But I mean, if he walked into a room or a meeting room after this interview and people patted him on the shoulder and on the back and said, wow, you did so good. That was fantastic. You really showed her. You handled yourself great. Wow, this is going to really make things easier for Pierre. If that happened to you, they're lying to you. They're lying to you, either because they do not respect you or they fear you, but they're lying to you. That was not good. That was not a good performance. This will not help you. This does not win you votes. And this confirms all the unflattering things that are being said about you and your party, that you're petulant, you're childish, you're unprepared, you're lazy, you're sloppy. You're not focused on the right priorities. You can't play well with others. You can't play nice. That you're of bad faith. That there is no reasonable or logical or coherent conversation to be had with you. It's not on offer. None of what you've done in this interview dispels any of that. In fact, it confirms all of it. You would have been better, sir, to just remain in hiding and let the void be filled with whatever. Because you didn't help. You didn't even have the energy of someone who was willing to fight during that interview. It was literally a collection of rehearsed and rehashed stump speech lines talking about that woman going to groceries who just doesn't know she's got enough money for it, and but you've got nothing for her. You like that woman, and you like her tragedy, and you like her misery, and you like appropriating her tale and sharing it and telling us how terrible it is that this is the case, and telling us who to blame for it, and telling us who we should punish for that having happened to that woman. But you're not proposing to help her. You're just using her unfortunate situation to attempt to elevate yourself and score points, but you've got nothing for her. I just don't understand the political tactic of punching down on people who are trying to accomplish something when you yourself have got nothing for the people that you claim you're speaking up for. I don't get it. So yeah, again, for those of us who are following this on a regular basis and know where all Pierre's lies are and how it is he shapes a message and how duplicitous he is, this is a terrible interview. I'm not sure that necessarily for everyone else who's not into that as much, whether or not it will hit the same. But being asked no fewer than 3 or 4 times in an interview to talk about yourself, what you would do, and sidestepping ungracefully every single time, I'm sure that has to register. Even with people that have no knowledge of politics whatsoever or no interest in it, but can just see human behavior. Well, he keeps on asking, what would you do? And he keeps talking about the other guy. That's weird, isn't it? Like, this whole exercise was just so off-putting and unsatisfying. And even if you were a conservative supporter, like a diehard Pierre Poilièvre fan, just the way he phoned this in and just had no passion and no conviction would leave me disappointed as a PP stan. But as someone who's not a PP stan and actually wants serious offerings from politicians whose salaries and benefits I partially pay and who are supposed to be working for us, this is not good enough. It's nowhere near good enough. I have a feeling that Pierre, if he has a team of advisors, I'm not sure how much he listens to them. I know that there's been a lot of changes in his team. Jenny Burton's gone and Steve Outhouse is in, and he has there's a new director of communications specifically to the leader of the opposition, and not to the director of communications of the party. That's still Sarah Fisher, doing a bang up job of it. Sarah, way to go. I don't know if he always had a personal director of communications to the leader of the opposition, or whether that is new because he needs some additional help, but there is someone that's been brought in. But I don't know if he's listening to them, really. Because right now it doesn't look... He's brought in new people, but there's no change. No change whatsoever on the surface. So I have a feeling that Pierre is probably his own best advisor, or so he thinks. And everyone there is just there to tell him, oh, that's a great idea, sir. I don't have the feeling that Pierre Poilièvre is a person that takes much advice from anyone. because he would have changed something by now. If there was someone in his circle that he actually trusted enough. I don't think he has that. Or at least someone in the circle that whose intelligence he believes to be equal to his own, at least, if not superior. Oh boy. All right, kids and cubs. I think that that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. It really means a lot to us when you do. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, because I was stunned when I watched it the first time, watching it again with you, and I'm still stunned. In fact, I think I've noticed more things wrong with it the second time watching than I did the first. Sometimes when I watch something the first time and I think, "Ooh, that was bad," and I watch it again, and say, "Oh, I was a little hard on that. Maybe it wasn't so bad." This one, the more I watch it, the worse it gets. Oh boy. All right. Sharing is caring. Word of mouth is priceless. So please share our content with your peeps and poops. And if you have a little bit of yourself into it when you do that, as to, for example, sharing why the show resonated with you, that means a lot. So thank you very much, kids and cubs. Let's see. I'm thrown, actually. I've forgotten my way in my own intro. That's how bad that interview with Pierre was. That actually threw me. Oh, man. Kids and cubs, if you would like to help us, kids and cubs, please go on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page. Boom, that QR code will bring you right there. And you can click with our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. Get freaky with them. Give them a little click. It helps us a lot with the algorithm when you do. And we love watching our numbers go up. And in fact, over the weekend, kids and cubs, our numbers did go up a little bit to 28,400 subscribers. We are still on pace, I believe, for 30,000 by the end of the year. If we can get 100 new sibbers a day, every day until the end of the year, that will bring us exactly there, pretty much on the nose. So let's hope that this good thing can keep growing. Thanks to you. Now, kids and cubs, if you would like us to help you because you are busy and on the go and sometimes don't have the time to watch the show on the YouTube channel, we have podcast versions of it. Let's try that again because I slurred that. We have podcast versions available. Hopefully, we will have new ones soon at our Podpage site. That's podpage.com/The True North Eager Beaver with a hyphen between each one of those words. And if you go there and click subscribe, when we have something fresh off the podcast bandwidth, it comes directly to you. So that way you can take on the day and pop us in your ears and remain informed all at the same time. It's a good deal. All right. And if you would like to help us in other ways, kids and cubs, there's 15 or 16 days left in the year. And hopefully, if you are able to, you can assist us with the costs that we incur to bring the show to you. Had a couple of fundraising goals we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year, and we're oh so close. So hopefully you can help us get there. It would mean the world to us. And if you would like to help us, you can do so by making a contribution at the Beaver Lodge's Emergency Hydration Fund via our coffee page. The QR code that's going to appear right now, boom, will bring you right there. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, all in one word. And when you go there and drop a loonie or toonie into the jar, or a few more if you're feeling generous, that helps us with everything that we incur to bring the show to you. Internet fees, cell phone fees, subscription fees to various services, subscription fees also to software like Canva and whatnot that helps us do the graphics and everything for the show. So yeah, we have to bring a full year of shows to you, a certain number of thousands of dollars per year that it costs us to do that. And through your kind help and generosity, either directly or by watching, because thankfully, our YouTube page is monetized with views, so even just watching helps us. But everything that you do financially to help us really does matter. So thank you for your contributions. It means the world to us. And I didn't do it earlier, but right here on the screen, Kits and Cubs, if you're watching, you see the QR code that will bring you to the pod page sponsored by the Ray Girl. So if you scan that, that will bring you there. Now, Kids and Cubs, if you're not able to contribute financially via our coffee page or on our YouTube page using Super Chat or buying a membership, the gifts of your attention and participation are the ones that matter the most to us, and we want to hear from you. So please write to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com and let us know what you think about the show, good, bad, or ugly, or offer us some suggestions for some guest interviews. We like to meet fascinating people and converse with them, and if you know of any, we would be happy if you would recommend them to us. Thank you so much, Kids and Cubs. All right. Because democracy is something that you do, remember we have House of Commons petition number 6821, a petition which, if successful, would encourage members of the House to table legislation that would make it such that Canadian media should be by Canadians, for Canadians, and for the best interests of Canadians. So please give it your little signature. We are now at, let's take a look, 7,480 signatures. So growing slowly but surely, steadily. And again, recommend it to all your friends and try to get their signatures because this matters a lot, particularly in this day and age of foreign interference and other nations trying to get us to believe their narratives rather than us telling our own stories to ourselves. Very important. So hopefully you can convince some friends and family members to put their signatures on that as well. Kids and Cubs, words of wisdom. Well, not sure how much wisdom I have for you today, but I would say, Kids and Cubs, pay attention. Pay attention. And not only just to the news and what's going on, because it's this time of year. Pay attention to your loved ones, those you hold dear, those you cherish. And check in with them. This can be a tough time of year for a lot of people as well. It's not always necessarily joyous for everyone. So check in on them. And the reason I'm mentioning this is, again, it's inspired by the Conservative Party of Canada, who were watching Michael Ma and said, well, he was fine at our Christmas party. I can't believe he did that. Well, he seemed fine, but clearly he wasn't. And maybe you did not know your colleague well enough. Gentle correction I need to issue to myself as well, speaking about Mr. Ma. I mentioned on a previous show that he didn't have very much deep ties with the party because he was a new MP. Turns out that that was incorrect because he had ran before under the Conservatives and I think was unsuccessful. So he does have a long-standing relationship with this party. Even though he was a new MP, his ties with the party go back much further. So maybe as his colleagues, you didn't get to know him well enough to know that there was something that was not wrong and that he was thinking of going somewhere else. So that's why I'm saying check in with those who are dear and send them a little love because you never know what they might be going through at the present moment. Like I said, it can be a tough time of year for a lot of people. So, yeah, check in on loved ones. That would be my words of wisdom today. Okay, kids and cubs, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. And now, at the count of 3, if you would, kids or cubs, please say, Mr. Beaver, cue the cock. And I'm looking at the time. I can't believe I went on that long today. I was intending to do a much shorter show, but I guess we just got the gift of the gab. Well, then again, Mr. Grizzly did pop in for a visit, which was an unexpected but very pleasant surprise. So, I guess extra length show. All right, kids and cubs. Count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Let me hear it. Oh, that is the good stuff, you lovely, wonderful damn fam. How can I refuse? You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. Okay. I was still seeing the logo of the show when I started talking, so I wasn't sure exactly what was going on here. Kits and Cubs. A little bit of news about Canadians who make us proud before we go today. A little bit of a shout out to a Canadian golfer, Sudarshan Yelamaraju, who finished in 7th place at the PGA Tour of Australasia PGA Championship, bringing a 4-round total of 285. He's been having a pretty good year on that circuit, and looks like a young golfer who will be going places in the next few years, representing Canada. So very proud of him for his success. Also, some great success by our winter athletes here, doing a lot of stuff. Kevin Drury, a member of our ski cross team, collected his first World Cup victory in almost 5 years on the second day of racing at the opening stop of the circuit in Val Thorens, France on Friday. Skied to first place in the men's event, and that was probably a nice moment for him after working so hard. Quote, "I can't really ask for much more," Drury said. "Yesterday I got some of the unlucky sides of ski cross, and today definitely some luck in the semifinals, and the final was just a dream. I worked really hard this summer to get in the best fitness I've had. The body's been feeling the best it has in 5 years, so to see that payoff really means a lot. The work that gets put in behind the scenes, it shows how much I care and how much I want this. It feels really good to feel like myself from 5 years ago." It's his 6th career World Cup victory and his 19th World Cup podium. So there we go. And Courtney Hoffos also made the podium, and Val Thorens placed second in the first women's race of the season on Thursday. And this is her 12th career World Cup podium, keeping alive a streak of podium performances dating back to last season when she finished second in the last 3 World Cup events of the year. So her 4th World Cup podium in a row. So that's pretty cool for her. And then I believe someone else, Sandra. Oh no, sorry, that's not from. She's not from Canada. So there you go. Wonderful results from our ski cross team here, and also from our long track speed skating team. They are pursuit team of Valérie Maltais, Ivani Blondin, and Isabelle Weidemann won gold in the team pursuit at the ISU Speed Skating World Cup in Hamar, Norway. So that was a wonderful result. Canada had finished in second place at the 2 previous pursuit races this season, so a gold medal in the final race is good for the Canadians. And Canada also won some medals by taking a silver in the 3,000 meters, thanks to Miss Weidemann, and Ivani Blondin took bronze in the massed start. So again, and both of them are medal hopes for Cortina Milano. So yeah, just a fantastic day for all. Fantastic weekend for Canadian athletes, and there was so much more. But those are the ones I'm going to bring to you now, and hopefully spread the rest of them out throughout the week. Okay, kids and cubs, that's all I got. Amour et bisous. We will see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. And like that, Like magic, I am gone. Poof.